And today, Camerino is our destination, 188 kilometers, with some enormous lumps in the way, including the Sassotetto and then around Camerino. A whole sequence of dramatic climbs and circuits. Shall we see where we were yesterday on stage 5? How fabulous was that? Well, we had walls yesterday. Today, we've got even more. I know. Shorter, but sharper. My goodness, we're going to be hitting ramps of 22% and more. Don't tell your granny, she'll be scared. This is indeed what we have already dealt with, I've got to tell you. The Sassotetto and a breakaway, a fine one of 7 riders, had a minute advantage before we got to the great peak and 4 minutes at the top. What on earth's going on? Is everyone preserving themselves? No, they're going to spend whatever they've saved in the latter part of the course. And what a course it is when we get to Camerino. We are constantly rising and falling on our circuit. A real test at the end. We finally crossed the finish line at the very last. And by that time, there's going to be some very tired legs and a few tired minds. One tired larynx, I can tell you. Maybe 2. That's what it looks like. Goodness me, it looks slightly scary. If I had to describe it from above, it kind of looks like a bit of a tapeworm. Let's see. Gnarly, I think you might say. Someone's going to get eaten. San Severino Marche. Time to dip inland yet again. No doubt, a beautiful part of this planet we enjoy so much. We're going to play with it today. Well, that's what we're racing for, isn't it? Neptune's Trident, or is it Poseidon's? We still haven't decided. Well, the bikes got scanned today. They do it every day, but we don't often see it. What we saw yesterday was a whole load of bravery. Fantastic victory for Valgren. Could we get a surprise repeat of the feat today? Del Toro is still hunting that stage win. Can he get it today? There'll be plenty out to stop him. Classics men will be towards the fore, and those, of course, minded to get out there and just give themselves a training ride at this crucial part of the year. You just never know how it's going to pan out. Well, we spoke to the riders before the day got underway, and some are more of an open book than others. Hiding in plain view, you might say. Let's find out, shall we? Their thoughts ahead of what is going to be a fabulous day of racing, as always.
It seems like you do something every day at Tirreno Adriatico. Is there a way also for you to promote your successors, Thibaut Del Grosso, Emil Verstringe, coming from cyclocross and doing well on the road?
I don't know. Yeah, I think everybody does his own thing, but yeah, yesterday was quite nice. We had the plan to be in the breakaway, and we succeeded again. So yeah, so far it's really good Tirreno for us. I think today we try to save some energy, and tomorrow we go for it with Jasper.
How much do you like this Tirreno Adriatico compared to sometimes when there are longer climbs?
Yeah, I think this is the real Tirreno Adriatico. No, yesterday's stage, today's stage. When I think about Tirreno Adriatico, this is what it comes to me, and I think it's a formula that is working really well. No, especially this circuit with a nice area, finishing area, and these steep climbs. It's a big show for the fans for sure.
Does the course look like a mountain biker's paradise today?
Not really. I would say 4,000 meters kind of goes outside of what I normally do on the mountain bike. Obviously my races are an hour and a half long on the mountain bike, so it's a bit longer today. But yeah, I think some technical descents that could suit me quite well, and a punchy finish. So yeah, should also suit me quite well if I have the legs in the final. So I think it's going well so far this week, and fingers crossed I have another good day today.
Which kind of fight do you see? Because there is a major climb a bit far away from the finish, and then steep climbs.
Yeah, from the start you have uphill drag for the breakaway to try gain time. But I think it's interesting, the GC battle, because you have guys that will want to be aggressive, probably like Giro and Primoz, but obviously Jorgensen is also looking really strong with following Del Toro yesterday. So I think, yeah, it's still quite an open race, and like any race, it's not over until it's over.
What do you have to do today to make Isaac the winner of Tirreno Adriatico?
Have really good legs, so hopefully I have good legs again. I felt pretty good yesterday, and yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's up to the other GC teams to try and take the lead away. So yeah, we won't be defensive, but it's up to them to try something, and then we'll protect Isaac.
Today's stage, from your birthplace to the place where you grew up, how special is that?
I think I could not hope a more special day like today, and yeah, born here, San Severino. I grew up in Camerino, so it's a special day for me. I want just to enjoy the day.
What is special with the climbs here, and particularly the steep one at the end?
Yeah, I think the Queen stage today, also yesterday was really hard. Today will be even harder, and yeah, I'm a climber, so I can be happy about the parkour, and just try to do the best.
Do you see yourself winning Tirreno Adriatico still?
Yeah, I mean, before, I don't know. For sure I will hope until the end. I will try everything, and then I will be happy anyway this night.
Well, they waved us off. There's a bit of karaoke going on there. Not quite sure what the tune was singing, but I Will Survive, possibly. Gloria Gaynor. Well, who is going to get the glory? Who's going to gain today? Well, the altitude gain is pretty high. I don't know where this is coming from. 4,000 meters plus is what we're dealing with. We cannot wait. You're right there.
I am. It's a very, very good punnage.
This was our official start, and boy, there was a little boss right at the very beginning that had to be bossed, I guess you might say. And then off that, a downhill run of about 18 or even 20 kilometres, and quite frankly, that gave us a great deal of impetus right from the very beginning. Some lively starters, as you could see. I think some wanted a bit of slippage, even on the first little lumplets that we got out there, but great to see Wout van Aert determined to just put his stamp at least at the beginning of the day. Then we were nudging up to sort of 45, 46, 47, even at times 49 kilometres an hour. It was a proper dash. And then guess what? We got to this. I know. The Sassotetto is a very big climb. At the beginning, we had 7 riders away at the beginning of the climb by a minute. By the time they crested, they got over 4 minutes. They kind of held on to that on much of the descent, but yeah, the urgency yesterday with which Julian Alaphilippe added to the break, they're kind of moderating today because they were hoping that Michael Storer would be perhaps very much engaged at the end. And so the drive by Tudor Pro Cycling, amongst others, as opportunities for victory start to disappear. We've now come down off the Gran Sasso. We're approaching our circuit. We'll be on it with 88 kilometres to go. And then we go 3 laps before finally coming up the final peak and just taking a little diversion to the finish line itself, which does not feature as part of the laps. Camerino, though, is our destination, and as you heard, Pellizzari is local. He grew up, indeed, on today's course. And so, yeah, he very much feels at home. And, yeah, we wish him the very best and everybody else as well. 87.1 kilometres, so essentially we're on the circuit. Bed yourselves in, get yourselves ready. This will all be familiar ground as we'll take each of our laps, the climb into Camerino. It's categorised 3 times, but at the very last, you go through the last KOM and indeed you finish the job. So there you go. You see the course markers and lots of transition spaces as well, still with an advantage of 4 minutes. And yes, that is the looming figure of Pippo Ganna. If yesterday you thought, well, he's a bit off the boil, isn't he, in the high ground? Well, think again. He's just been over the Sasso Teto and he's the big engine of, or one of them, of the breakaway. And what a break it turns out to be. Mob handed out the front because everyone wants to get to that transition that they'll be hitting in about 3.5 minutes' time, where the wide road, what are they, 15 wide at the moment? Suddenly that's going to be, well, 3 wide to get onto it safely. This is where we find ourselves right now. So we are climbing up towards Camerino. Not going to get categorised this time by, but it will over the next 3 visits. And then at the very last, we take a little diversion, a little squirrel. Should we call it that? And then it'll be a squirrel or a squirt up to the line. I'm not quite sure. You work it out, but both begin with SQ. Well, PMQs are one thing. Should we ask some questions right now? What answers are we going to get from that man? 2 stage wins to his name, and he leads the points tally, courtesy of the fact that he's had 2 stage wins. Del Toro hasn't got any yet, Matt Stevens. Is he going to get one today? He's got work to do if he's going to.
First things first for him is making sure he stays in the jersey, but I think he's a winner. He's a thoroughbred. If he does ultimately end up winning this bike race, to add a stage win to the mix will be massively important for the young Mexican. So I think, yes, I think he wants to win the stage win. I think he wants to put an emphatic stamp on this race. To be honest, he's already done it, but he hasn't had that win yet. Volgren stymied that yesterday. Mathieu van der Poel the other day. He's been close, very close indeed. Second is his best. But yeah, it's the quickest at the moment by 23 seconds, but I can sense it that his team are going to want to... The thing is, in riding defensively, they don't need to do too much, but given the gradients we've still got to come, I think this is going to suit him down to the ground. We've done roughly half of the elevation today, over 4,000 metres, to be exact, 4,007 metres of climbing. We've done half of it, and now we've got 4 ascents of this climb. So basically, we've entered the circuit, we're on the climb, but we've partially upped the climb. So the next time through, we start from lower down. But essentially, this is the running that they've got to do 4 times. And there's the peloton, as you said, nearly as wide as it is long, coming into that little pinch point before they take in the climb. And it's a very narrow little road. And as you see, it is very, very steep indeed. 21% at the bottom. Then it flattens to only about 2-3%. Then it kicks up again. The King of the Mountains points on the next lap and the lap after that are about 300 metres from the top before they pass through for the final time. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, Del Toro will certainly want a stage win to crown off what's been a brilliant week. But as we saw Magnus Sheffield, as we heard Magnus Sheffield say, it's a really delicately poised general classification. Still pretty tight at the top. Lots of riders in with the mix, and I think as Alan Hathley, the South African from Jaco Alula, he's currently in 11th. He's going to want to try and move up the ranking as well, and other riders are going to want to battle for that final podium spot. So I think we're going to see an aggressive next couple of hours.
What a breakaway we've got, though. It's a sensational roster. Gregor Mühlberger is here, former Austrian champion on 2 occasions. That, yes, is Pippo Ganna. Vincenzo Albanese is also part of the group. Bras Alfonso has made the trip. Walter Calzoni, nicely folded over, slightly cheesy. Timo Kielich is also here, and indeed Guillermo Thomas Silva, former, I think, multiple-time Uruguayan champion, is also in for the game. I mean, for goodness sake, this is a proper fighting force. And if you thought that Pippo Ganna was a little bit lacklustre yesterday, well, whatever he saved there, he's spending today. And what a great kind of preparation, I guess, ride with some of the steep ramps as well, and just being part of a breakaway and showing the vim and vigour he is going to need when we get to the Milano-San Remo. If he was off the boil, he's turned it back to simmer.
Yeah, we don't exactly know what. Maybe he just wanted to give himself an easier day. He did look like he was suffering on a couple of climbs yesterday, but has flicked it round. He's up the road. Big gap as Julien Alaphilippe just nudges through. I'm not too sure if that was a big attack. Of course, one of the men of the match yesterday, off up the road, but certainly turning the screw here a little bit. They've got Michael Storer up there on GC. I think he's 15th on general classification is the Australian, but at 2 minutes 13. I think this is about making this as hard as possible, bringing the gap down, because I think Michael Storer will be eyeing a place inside the top 10. And as this race has gone on, he's just got better and better. Top 10 yesterday. So watch out for Storer today, trying to vault into the top 10.
Is that one of the bases there?
It looked like a base.
Yes, it's either Mattia, Davide, or Buttery Biscuit. Here we go. 85.6 kilometres until we get to the top. It's gold here. 3 minutes 35. They've been pared back by about half a minute. It could be a thankless task for these guys. If it is a training ride for Ghana, it's a very useful one. But this is the business end, essentially, of what we are going to be dealing with throughout the remainder of the day. We're on the final circuit, as you can see. So they've been following the pink arrows. Why are they blue arrows for this? I don't know. But yeah, 3.5 minutes is the advantage they've got. If you're wondering what's going on, the skyline here is bespecked with boom cranes. It's because the Apennine earthquake that happened in 2016 was this was one of the places that got severely damaged by it. I mean, it was 6.4 on the Richter scale. It happened 5 kilometres underneath the Apennines as one tectonic plate moved across the other. It was quite a. In fact, I think it was the most severe in the last decade. And so, yeah, there's a lot of buildings that have to be braced, adapted, repaired. It was quite a tragedy, of course, quite the tragedy in this part of the world, and was felt. The tremors, 2,500 of them came after the earthquake itself, across most of Italy, and in fact even beyond the Adriatic coast on other coasts. So it was quite an affair, and so we're kind of honouring those. There is a quite a heavy pall, I must say, over the city where we're visiting today, but you know, what better way to start to move on and just have a brighter future than to have a spectacular race like the Tirreno Adriatico come along and, you know, just show that life moves on. And what a spectacular race it's been to help us in that regard.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We parked on the other side of the town and walked through the pretty much deserted streets, buttressed up, as you said, and there was a sense of melancholy, but at the same time a sense of hope. There's rebuilding going on. It was almost like a ghost town at the very top, but as you say, bringing this race here to remind people this place is being regenerated. It will be populated fully again in the future. And the race brings that additional beacon of hope as well. And the reminder, this place is still here and has a bright future, hopefully.
Yeah, a medieval university, ancient churches, noble places, and an impressive Ricca di Camerino, which provides panoramic views of the city and the surrounding halls. They used to have lots of infinity platforms here. They've glazed them now so you don't accidentally fall off, because there was never a protective wall. It was supposed to allow you to have a rather spectacular view. And it is here as we play with the city walls. It's magnificent.
Well, this is quite technical. They're halfway up the climb now. They will, as we saw before, that little side road is a different approach. But the road is essentially, the climb is essentially in two halves. They kick up. They drop down for the best part of 1.5 kilometres, 2 Ks, then it kicks up again before that graduated descent. As we look at Mathieu van der Poel, he did actually say in the pre-race interview that he's going to take it easy today and look after the interests of Jasper Philipsen, and that's exactly what they're doing. So tomorrow it's all in. They don't want tired legs heading into tomorrow's stage, apart from the general residual fatigue that you get. So it's all about looking after Philipsen, nursing him home and trying to set him up for their third stage win, and Jasper Philipsen first of the season. So that's no surprise to see that squad at the back.
There'll be a few as well that now they're sort of peeling back their ambition, really, to reveal the kernel of their desires, and that might well be tomorrow. So there'll be a few that hold a little bit back.
Definitely.
So that San Benedetto del Tronto can be their pomp.
Exactly. Exactly. It should be a big sprint fest tomorrow. You just never know, but generally speaking, it will be a big sprint day. But this is some great work that's been done by Julien Alaphilippe. Just look at how he's thinned out this bunch already. This is definitely to try and make things that little bit harder.
Exactly.
And I do think it's for Michael Storer. He's clearly had it. He clearly had a hard day yesterday, and they're using him now just to thin this out, make it a bit more selective. Just see Storer about 15 back, looking pretty good. And Tratnik is on his wheel, so some good running by Alaphilippe here.
Michael Storer has got a great chance today. We won't be seeing any more chances for Corbin Strong, unfortunately. He did not start today.
That's a shame.
Yes, it is. At the back here, our King of the Mountains man did a great job of assembling points. Didn't make it up to the front group today. And he might be wise to just ease off a little bit, because there are early mountain points tomorrow before we head back down coastline. But yeah, 33 points. He might have enough.
There's 5, 10, 15 points on offer today. So even if Timo Kilic scores, remember, because he's in the break, he's not going to be able to steal the lead. So yeah, I think get the job done today. He's not going to score any points. Hope that different riders take the remaining points. And remember, I'd say the next time up, or the penultimate time up, there might be a change at the front, because it's only 3:12 to that leading group. But all Da Silva can do is hope that different riders snaffle the points, redistribute them, and then tomorrow he can finish off the job by getting up the road early. So right now, the way the race is unfurling for him, it's pretty positive.
Danny Van Poppel, it's not his kind of day, is it? But tomorrow most certainly might be.
Yes.
Let's see how sterling that goes. I mean, you know, absolutely hallmarked for today, talking of sterling, is Michael Storer. And Julien Alaphilippe is part of the battle plan for them. They've done a lot of chasing, actually. They've knocked over a minute, in fact, 1 minute and 40 seconds off the ultimate advantage that they had out there. And much of the work was done by Tudor Pro Cycling. So attritional, I think you might say, but there'll be others struggling as well. Michael Storer loves some peaky riding. And, yeah, last year, the peaky riding, he played a blinder. Yeah, it was that was in the Tour of the Alps. Well, so it's about this time of year that he absolutely thrives. He comes down out of the Aussie competitions, always looking well, always up for a battle. And Tudor Pro Cycling has been a great home for him. And I'm hoping that he gets something out of today, because clearly he's up for it.
Yeah, they're definitely setting their stall out today, this early approach, just to try and carve some chunks out of the lead of the break. And as you said, since we've come on air, the best part of 1 minute and 3/4, primarily due to that effort by Julien Alaphilippe. This is this little plateau. We're still not quite at the top of the climb yet. These lads a bit further up the road, probably best part of 2Ks, 1,500 metres up at this sort of speed. They're on the second part of the climb. This is the first of 4 ascents up this one. So take a close look, get used to this, because this is going to be the battleground for the next couple of hours.
And yeah, the helpers here, they don't have their arms up permanently. That's gonna hurt, isn't it? But yeah, they're going to get a bit tired going into this one. There you are. Good nozzle hold there for an easy take.
Yeah, it's a good some differing techniques there from the Soigneurs that side of the road. But these low speeds, it's pretty easy. You can pretty much hold it any way you wanted to, really. But yeah, definite technique. Holding at the top is a good idea. So plenty of grippage for the full hand of the rider behind.
There used to be a guy, Favini Fantini, back in the day, who used to go full sort of Tai Chi, and he used to balance the bidon on his hand, on his flat hand, and kind of hold it out, sort of hieroglyphic style. I think he knew he was on telly. He was doing it for somebody at home. Yeah. It was an easy take, though.
It's nice that the people had their own kind of angle to something like that.
81.1 kilometres to go. Vincenzo Albanese, he's been a great servant of the sport, still remains so as well, 29 years of age. Had some very good runs. In fact, last year I loved calling him home in the Tour of Switzerland. Had some terrific ones, didn't he? Into the Black Sea, the Schwarze.
That was a great sprint, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's a really long, drawn-out sprint. He came just round on the inside at the very last, didn't he?
That
was his first World Tour win, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Lewis Askey. Well, we were like, oh, no, what a shame. But it was Albanese took it ahead of Fabio Christian. Lewis Askey was in the frame there. Quinn Simmons as well. And Danny Van Poppel, who's here. He's still going, you know.
Alaphilippe is not missed a beat. Look at this. So 2 minutes is taken in about 10 Ks. That's how much harder the peloton can go than that breakaway. So 2:39 is the lead. as they crest the top of this one. And then swings through to the back. He's looking good, isn't he? As you say, difficult day yesterday, but it feels to me as if he's just riding this one on feel. Gave himself a little bit of break not to go too deep, and another day of keeping the chain tight today. Because tomorrow shouldn't be too hard. We do have those early ascents, and then it should be a big sprint. And you never know. We saw Ganna try and go a couple of years ago on that finish. He's always going to be a little bit of a danger.
I always feel, you know, when he gets to that moment in the Milano-San Remo, where he's surrounded by some men who have got a quicker kick than he. I mean, if he goes long, he is on rails, and he just goes into that team time trialing mode that he is so special at. But it just gets pipped.
Yeah, well,
I would love him to go all the way.
Again, he put away Tadej Pogacar in the finale, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
But after chasing from the bottom of the Poggio all the way into the final, but had enough to beat Pogacar, but unfortunately didn't have enough to beat a flying Van der Poel. And this man is flying another former world champion, Alaphilippe. What a day it was yesterday. A real brave battling performance by him. And back on duty today, and he's doing a one-man job, a demolition job of the breakaways time gap, that's for sure. And everybody behind is pretty happy. Visma Bike happy. Certainly UAE team members XRG, they'll be happy. And there is Michael Storer just moving up the outside in the black jersey, trying to slot himself into position. And Carlton, the work by Alaphilippe here, has already reduced this bunch to about just 50 riders.
Amazing.
In very short order indeed, as Kevin Vermaak swings over, takes a bead on, undoes the gel, and swings back into the line.
Cicconi's not that far away, and he's completely aware that this might break down with a gap at the front and doesn't want to miss out, so he's moving himself up. Primož Roglic, in that familiar style of his, all over the bike. There is Cicconi, as mentioned, with Tiemann Arensman for company right now. Also making a move is, of course, Mr. Healy. There he is. Ben just getting himself a little bit further up towards the floor, just in case that split is has any chance of happening. And on uneven terrain that we have here, there are acceleration points that come thick and fast, aren't they?
Yeah, we're getting out. We're just cresting the top now. Again, another 15 seconds taken off by Alaphilippe. And all this, not exactly battling for position, but slotting themselves into a slightly higher up place is because we've got this, our first sight of the descent. We drop down for a couple of Ks, a couple of little kickers, then we drop back down into the valley, hit the main road before we then approach the town. And it's, 29.1 Ks around. But we'll get our first glimpse of this particular downhill section. But it's, hardly any flat at all now on this circuit.
Just about the last 300 metres, isn't it, that we take off and go up to the line? So our finale today is something that will remain unique.
Exactly, it's cobbled as well, so the vast majority of the climb through to the King of Mountains point before they drop off the shoulder of the town is quite bumpy. There's the tarmac that there is quite broken up, and then you've got these big paving slabs, very similar to the stage that was won by Mathieu van der Poel the other day, just coming off the Storato. So the actual town centre furniture, very, very similar. Quite an uneven surface. But thankfully, so far anyway, it looks like we are going to have a dry day. So grip will be far more improved than it was the other day.
Just dwelling on, thankfully. Just like to say thank you to all of your kind messages that have wafted in from the Southern Hemisphere. A lot of you watching in Oz. It's great to have your company, and thank you for your encouragement and your enthusiasm. It's wonderful. Likewise, from the North Americas, I know that we're solidly in Canada, but a few of you finding a way to see us in the United States as well. It's an absolute joy to have you on board. And it makes it worthwhile. We know that you're getting as much out of this as we are, because we're loving it, aren't we?
We are. It's been a brilliant race. One of the best Tirrenos I can remember. It's had a little bit of everything. Thrills, spills, great course design. And just speaking behind the scenes in the hotels with the production team here, I think everybody is, and even Pel Bilbao was essentially waxing lyrical about the course design. There's something for everybody. Yep. We don't have to have mountains all of the time. In fact, we've had one, but that was earlier in the stage, and that didn't prove to be necessarily a turning point, but that long climb will have eaten into the reserves of these riders. But I do agree with Bilbao. The course design for this edition of Tirreno, now in its 61st year, has been exemplary.
I always wonder where waxing lyrical came from. I mean, how do you wax a lyric?
Don't know.
I mean, if you're a beat,
Maybe somebody could get in touch.
surfing song, maybe that's what it's about. Who knows? But, I wonder if it's something to do with wax cylinders. We just don't know. It's only because we haven't looked it up. It's only just occurred to me. But anyway, so get used to the course here, and yeah, as you can see, the Illuminati here. Not the chap in the day glow, but the illuminations, I should say. Yeah, just a warning of some of the rather focused turns that we're dealing with, and there'll be a few of those in town, as you've seen, around the Citadel before our final, indeed, lap. That we have to get to. It is, we'll have our first sort of preview of how the climbing to the finale is going to be in about 8 kilometres time. So from that moment, then you will see all of the obstacles that they're going to have to do in that final approach for about 15k.
Exactly. And there's a few little riders getting on here. That's the distance of today's stage. 112k is under the belt already. But as you say, Carlton, yeah, we'll get a proper look at where the action's going to take place. And next time up the climb, there will be some King of the Mountains points on offer for our leaders as well. But I tell you what a ride this is by Alaphilippe. He hasn't even looked round for any assistance. He's clearly going to just ride himself into the ground by the looks of things. Looks like he might have enough because we're dropping off now. I think he might take this through to the bottom of the first King of the Mountains ascent up to the centre of Camerino. He clearly seems intent on just just pressing on hard and single-handedly eating into this breakaway. Look how much he's banked over. That's an adverse camber as well. That's dropping away from them on that left-hander.
Yeah. I tell you, nobody else is quite as focused around the curve as he is. He does have a very great sense of being able to hang himself off the frame of the bike. Sometimes you'll see him actually even out of the saddle to one side, going side saddle to counterbalance his attempt to neutralise the corner for himself. Meanwhile, back of the car, got to take on the sustenance you need, and this is Jan Christen, the great Swiss. Of course, working in the service of Isaac Del Toro, who would very much like to take today. He won't do it at all costs, certainly not the cost of the overall. So yeah, if we are going to see Del Toro, it will be because he's within range a little bit later on. Now, this point here on the course for our breakaways, they're a little bit further ahead. Thank you. No, still not the breakaway. But when we see the breakaway next, I think this is a little attack point. We've just seen Alaphilippe looking rather focused. I think that might have been a little bit earlier on. But as we come into this, there's a little dip that our brake are just going into, and this is sort of launch with about 18 or 20 Ks to go potentially for the final time of asking. We might see it going, as you said, Matt, after the penultimate, before we get to the bell lap, essentially. Are they going to ring a bell because we're not actually going over a finish line?
I guess not. No, normally they wouldn't. Normally you have to pass over the finish line. So we're only 300 metres shy.
Close but no bell.
Close but no bell. So they won't actually. It continues. It's quite steep all the way to the line. The final bit is probably about 7 or 8%, and you can't actually see the finish line. It's about 75 metres to go.
Yeah.
There's a little right-hander. It does slightly flatten the last 50 or 60 metres to the line, but on the approach to that bit, it's quite twisty, relatively narrow. But it'd be a challenging finale. But then the lead into that as well, as we'll see shortly, it's very steep indeed, but dramatic countryside. Let's look at the size of the peloton now. Alaphilippe still riding hard on the front. It looks like before we get to the top of this little kicker that you've just described, Carlton, the lead might have been reduced to under 2 minutes, and that is an impressive bit of work being done by the double world champion. Has not missed a beat, only glanced over his shoulder on a couple of occasions, and he will see Michael Storer there with that Tudor written on his back in the black in P3 or 4.
Well, I am waiting to see how this one pans out. Alaphilippe's attritional riding here has probably shaken out quite a few. I reckon we've got
totally
30 to
40 odd maximum.
Yeah. 35, 40. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Matt is actually very adept at reading head of cattle with just one glance. So
it's quite a skill. Had it from an early age.
Yeah.
Just look at something and calculate. It's near it up. Quite accurately. Yeah. He
can't do it with squirrels because he mixes heads and tails. I guess you could always just halve it. But anyway. 73 Ks remaining. Didn't know where we were going with that one. But we steered us back. I don't think anyone noticed. We're all right. 2 minutes. The gap now, courtesy of Mr. Alaphilippe. You know, when he's in this kind of grinding mode, if Michael Storer was actually to say, do you know what, I'm a bit tuckered out, I don't think it's going to be my day, just carry on. He could.
Well, he's doing a brilliant job.
Yeah.
They've clearly had a plan. This isn't
Yes.
something that's just spontaneous. You don't use a resource like Alaphilippe like this willy-nilly and recklessly. So this is clearly a plan. I think Alaphilippe knows that, yes, it was a super hard day. Probably won't be able to function in the final or make the selections because of what he put in yesterday, which isn't, you know, which is quite normal. So how do we best use Alaphilippe? Let's put him on the front. Let's make it super, super hard. Let's surprise a few of the other teams. Let's put people on the back foot, and let's make this as hard as possible, because that's the sort of situation and racing environment that a good Michael Storer will enjoy. He wants to keep the chain nice and tight, reduce the stress by having a smaller group on a descent like this, and also motivate Storer as well. Not that he needs motivation, but if you're a rider like Storer, with a rider like Alaphilippe working tirelessly for you on the front to try and set things up as best as possible, that's just going to lift his motivation. And clearly there's a lot of trust within that team. But to have a domestique deluxe like Julien Alaphilippe riding, look at Storer now, right through to the front there, looking good. Clearly there's a plan here.
I would love to see Michael deliver today. It would just be something special. Always is when he gets the bit between his teeth. Looking further back, there's a phalanx here, a quartet of Bahrain victorious riders. Now, yesterday, Pello Bilbao was in a bit of a nursing mode. He was looking after Tiberi. Tiberi didn't function at his absolute highest. Santiago Buitrago also got a little bit of help for Pello Bilbao. Well, today, apparently, he's going to help himself. In the interview this morning, he said, I'm just going to give it a go. It's my kind of day. He's clearly got the legs. He's got his aero helmet on. Don't fear that because he's at the front of that group of Bahrain victorious riders that indeed he's not the chosen son today. He's a demon descender. And when you have a lot of peaks on a circuit like this, on the descent, he generally tends to take advantage. Whether he'll have the power to deliver, he's getting towards veteran status now, but whether he'll have the power to deliver a little bit later on, the margins he finds in the descents, though, he can carry. It's whether anybody else can get back at him.
Yeah, and I think, he was riding a lot better yesterday. He's 10 minutes down the general classification. So really, in terms of the GC battle, if he's feeling good and he's agreed between him and Buitrago what the roles are, the top 10 spot's great for Bahrain victorious, but trying to take a stage win is far more important in my eyes. And I think that the double header of Bilbao and Buitrago, in the absence of a strong Tiberi, who's now 10 minutes down in 34th place, I think the fact that Bilbao isn't a threat means he might get that little bit of sliding room. And as you said, the climbing is perfect for him and the descents as well. So if he gets away on a climb, he can easily take even more time on the descent because he is one of the most adept descenders in this peloton. You wouldn't ordinarily think it, but it's proven year after year when you look at some of his race wins. Several of those have come as a result of his descending prowess as well as his climbing ability. So I think they've got two clear options. Buitrago to chip away at the top 10, move up a little bit. But Bilbao, the way he rode yesterday, I think he'll be eyeing a stage win.
Yeah, I agree. Well, he's even barefaced. He told us that that's what he's going for. What a sensational win yesterday, if you want to believe in a breakaway. Michael Valgren, the last man standing from it, paired with Alaphilippe late on, but finally just decided to hit out. And just a reminder what a fabulous, classy rider he is. And just refused to give in to the emotions late on, was incredibly stoic and centred about the troubles that he'd had, but he looked straight into the camera. I think he was talking to his young lad and just thanking all of his team and indeed his family who've supported him ever since his terrible leg break, dropping down to second tier, essentially, even third tier, and then working his way back, and then gets a win yesterday in the most outstanding way. A man who looks like, he shouldn't be able to boulder up mountains. He is a solid figure, and that yesterday was just an absolutely gold-plated performance, and we loved it. And EF are busy again, man in the break and 4 behind, so maybe Healy.
They're looking good. Vincenzo Albanese, we talked about that stage win the other day. He can finish it off from a small group. He functions well on terrain like this. He's a very solid all-rounder with a good kick. when you look at his days when he was riding for Polti Visit Malta or the equivalent team, he was so consistent, just always up there on difficult days, and he's the ideal riders to get in a move like this. The chances now, given what Alaphilippe has just done over the last half an hour of them staying clear, are now pretty remote, I would say, but you've still got Albanese up the road who could perform a particular function for the likes of Healy to go for another stage win and double up, because they clearly, after a win like that, I mean, the team are motivated anyway, but it's going to really lift the spirits of the team, especially Volgren, for the reasons you just talked about. 5 years without a win, nearly a career-ending crash, and he's back to his best. 34 years of age. That was brilliant. And just to echo what you're saying, when he looked into the camera, it was very powerful, wasn't it? A lot of riders. Oh
no, that's not.
That's an off.
It is, I'm afraid, and thankfully for Mark, looks
Kevin,
like he's all right.
He's taken
scuffed, a couple of burgers, I'm afraid, for him to deal with. He's Superman, doesn't he, down the road? He's all right, though, which is fabulous. That's the best news. But never ideal, no matter how you take a tumble.
What's happened? We're going to see that again. He's fallen on his right side.
Yeah.
Just watch this. Does he straighten up and come down?
Oh, he grounded a pedal, I think.
Yep.
Tiang.
Oh, he's hit the wall. God, span him round.
He's so lucky to get.
Because I thought it was strange. It was a left-hander, but his hip was cut on the right-hand side.
Very odd.
Flipping heck. Well, he's up, thank goodness. So clearly, one would imagine nothing broken. But what a shocker that was.
Oh, sorry, just getting over that crash. Castel Raimondo, found in the 14th century under the Davarno family. The old Davarnos. The city symbol is the casero, featured in the coat of arms. What's a casero? Matt's looking it up. During the Corpus Domini.
I'll have a look.
Yes, the Infiorata festival. Is that the Interflora festival? I don't think so. It fills the main street with vibrant colours. Oh, it might be. Maybe that's where they got the name for the company. I do like the old ducal flags, I've got to say. You often see those, of course, at the Palio, and the same venue, of course, is Siena, where we finished the Strada Bianchi, which kind of introduced us, really, to, indeed, this part of the world and this part of the calendar. Another bottle gets tossed into the car there by Pellizzari, clearly not worried that it's going underneath a brake pedal, but got away with it.
Oh, a casero. I typed it in wrong, and I was looking at it, and it said just describing a casserole. Anyway, when I spelt it right, a casero is spell check, is a historical term for a fortified building, keep or fortress, typically located within a medieval town or castle complex, derived from the word Arabic for of casa or castle.
There you go.
There you go, folks. Look at that.
Didn't look up wax lyrical, though, did you? He's going to do.
Well, I was saving that for later.
Nairo Quintana, actually, he kind of dialed the clock back yesterday. He looked really sprightly. It was fantastic. It was kind of riding like he did a couple of years ago, in fits and starts of his inherent genius that we know he has. And back in the day, it might have been a bit of a cheeky one for him. He'd have liked some bigger peaks, maybe a circuit involving the Sassotetto back in the day, but thankfully that's behind us. What have you found?
Well, let's get it out of the way now before the racing really does kick off. We've got people at home maybe rolling their eyes, but wax lyrical originates from the late 19th century, combining the Old English verb waxion, meaning to grow or increase, as in the moon's waxing, with lyrical to describe becoming increasingly enthusiastic or poetic in speech.
So there we are. So it's the waxing and waning of the moon,
yep,
as opposed to the waxing and waning of a surf.
Do you know what? It's an education, isn't it? You've got your sport going on, and we've given you some culture as well as a nice backdrop.
I'd like to say it was essential, but there'll be people writing in disagreeing with that sentiment.
We like to give something for everybody.
Yes, exactly. We're a family. Never forget that. We love our cyclo nerds, but we love everybody else as well. So let's all gather ourselves together, shall we, in a band of brothers and sisters, and enjoy what is going to be a fantastic finale to this one. Here we are, a gentle rise, kind of a highway rise, which, town planners, beloved of them, they're going to make the circle and then come all the way back up. Back, resplendent in the leader's blue jersey, Isaac Del Toro. Still no stage win, and Michael Storer decides, I'm I know the man to follow, and everyone else feels the same way.
Yeah, he's moved right up onto the wheel of his teammate, and just by the way that Alaphilippe is riding here, he's got a few more kilometres left in him, but even for Alaphilippe now, you can sense that he might be coming towards the end of this extraordinary turn on the front. It's been about 15 or 20 Ks now, and he has single-handedly taken the lead from about 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Remember, there's 7 riders out in front, including Filippo Ganna, to 1 minute and 40 seconds. That is one big tilt on the front. And sat on his wheel, Michael Storer looking pretty impassive, looking relatively relaxed. Just a big question is, how much longer can Alaphilippe take it? Will he take us up this drag? It's about 5 Ks, or 6 or 7 Ks actually.
Oh, it's close to the limit.
To the foot of the climb itself, as we see Kevin Vermaat getting treatment from the medical car.
Gosh. I mean, he's properly banged up. And in fact, most of that scuffage actually seems to have come from the railing and this concrete that he got into that side. That does not look pretty. I hope he's all right.
Yeah,
he's got the thumbs up. It's just the adrenaline's driving him on, but that's going to be very sore tonight.
That's really, really nasty.
Yeah.
The way that we saw him crash there, I'm surprised he's up and riding. He looks okay, but there's a lot of skin on the right-hand side that's been lost.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Gosh.
We're going to see
it again. Now watch, he's just coming into view now, gets a double take, double checks, doesn't he? Kick onto the paving. Couldn't avoid the curbing, and then it's got half vaults, but carried too much pace into the railings. And it was the railings that did the damage.
Span him around in the end, yeah. It looks like he's actually scuffed his leg, as you say, on that wall, that concrete wall, before that the bike unfortunately kicked up. Well, he's up and running, but he's going to be sore. But as you say, quite often when a rider hits the deck, they're up. You get this really big adrenaline spike, which can actually carry you through to the end of the day. But then it's about assessing what has exactly happened, and he'll get dressed up. But they're made of stern stuff. The bike riders are exceptionally tough.
Got to be, haven't you? 2 types of riders: those who've been down and those who are going down. You can't avoid it. There was a gentleman who came very full of himself. I won't mention his name, but he had a very, very, very long career, a Spanish rider, and he came to the Tour of Langkawi and said in all of his career, and he'd been racing for about 17 years at the time as a pro, never had a single crash, and then the next day, it was ultimate hubris, bless him. He wouldn't wish a crash on anybody, but it happens, and how you manage it. A lot of it is just luck, but it doesn't matter what the pace. If you go down slowly, you can hurt yourself, or you can go down quick. Quicker sometimes can make you slide. There's no mitigation for it. It's very difficult to control. You just have to deal with the consequences of it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's some riders are hardly crash at all. Others a bit more often than not. But generally, as a professional cyclist, it's just a numbers game, and quite often the luck is just, well, things are taken out of your own hands. All it needs is somebody else to get some misfortune, and a lot of accidents are just freak accidents too. There are crashes that involve risk, and riders, taking risks that are just a little bit dangerous. Others, I mean, it looked like on the apex of that corner, his bike skipped. I'm wondering, as you were saying, that he might have clipped a pedal, because his bike clipped up and then he just completely lost control and drifted wide. Yeah, but anyway, he's up and running. He looks like he's latched onto the back of this group, still being led by the irrepressible Julien Alaphilippe. What a couple of days he's had. 1 3/4 minutes. Meanwhile, 1.2 Ks to the bottom of the climb. Yeah,
this drag, just remember the orange plastic netting. We'll be coming by here on 2 more occasions after this one. So it's essentially our announcement to our finale. So by the time you get to this, I don't like this kind of netting, because it's actually supported and threaded through with twisted metal rods, and they just look a bit unfriendly. I'm going to leave it at that to your imagination. Let's just hope nobody gets themselves in a tangle, because this is going to be a skirmish.
Yep, at least they're moving uphill there, not downhill, as we approach 900 metres now for our leaders. And the peloton will probably be about 900 metres behind them, actually, going at this sort of speed. There they are, that lovely arrowhead formation. And looking at that easily, there's 45 riders left in there.
Yeah.
Looks like 4, actually, from EF Education Easy Post. plus Albanese up the road.
Yeah, a raft as well of, or would it be called a Dow? I don't know, for Bahrain victorious here as well, including the great Peo Bilbao, who on days like this can actually show his hand. But again, he may have to play cards for other people. Depends on how he feels. And teams, if you've got numbers around you, they dictate to each other, or at least discuss amongst each other in court snippets of conversation as to who's feeling good and who is not. Clearly, Michael Storer is feeling very good because it's under his instruction. He's the band leader at the moment of the duet that is now left, possibly singing at the end of the day. We shall wait and see. For Tuna Pro Cycling and Julian Alaphilippe. Goodness me, if Storer's the organ grinder, then Julian Alaphilippe is putting on a show at his behest.
Yeah, and just worth looking at. I mean, I'd imagine Tudor Pro Cycling want to get a stage without this race, but also punt Michael Storer up into the top 10. He sits 15th at the moment. He moved up 10 places yesterday, so he's on the ascendancy in terms of his shape as this race has got harder and harder. Moved up 10 places to 15th. He currently sits at 2 minutes and 13 seconds behind Isaac Del Toro. But remember, Del Toro has 23 seconds over Pellizzari. So all he needs is 45 seconds to move inside the top 10. 10th place at the moment, taken by Santiago Buitrago of Bahrain at 1:28. Only a singular second in front of Magnus Sheffield. And the rest really condensed over just 5-10 seconds.
Here we go. He's on his own. He's done his job. And, yeah, just loosens the shoes. He's going to ease himself into the remainder of the day. His job essentially was to be an attritional ride at the front to shake out some of the rivals and maybe put some hurt into the legs of the opponents of Michael Storer by the end of today. What it's done is it's reduced the gap here to just 80 seconds, and we're hitting 21%. If you look at the crowd at the side of the road, you get a better view of how steep this is, but well, you can just see it from the way that the riders are taking this. Vincenzo Albanese is no slouch, and he is struggling on this.
Yep, this is very, very steep indeed. Albanese slowly being dropped. There's your stats, 10 k's an hour, 16% gradient for the first part of this climb. Filippo Ganna at the next, but thankfully they've got a freshly surfaced bit of road. But 2 more times up this after this, remember. This is brutal. 1:17 is the gap. It looks like Visma Leasebike might have taken things back through to the front. But on gradients like this, it's pretty much every man for themselves. The last thing you want to do is follow the pace of the fastest rider and push yourself into the red. So Ganna knows how to ride this one. He's a bigger figure, but boy, can he climb, as we saw the other day. And now it's Uno X taking things up at the front.
It's busy, isn't it? And we like that. You know, a team we haven't mentioned or dwelt on too much is NSN Cycling, and they've been there or thereabouts almost constantly, haven't they? Sandro Pinarello has been superb in this race.
Yeah, he's currently sitting in 7th place overall, gradually moving up. Very, very strong indeed. And he's still in that front group. It's interesting to see the movement by Uno X behind, putting Johannesson in a good place. But no panic for everybody here. There's no point in trying to match the pace of Clement Brez Alfonso now. He's one of the best placed riders in this move, actually. He's only at 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So there was a point in the race before Julian Alaphilippe hit the front that he was the virtual leader of Tirreno Adriatico. But now with the gap at 1 minute and 5 seconds and still a further 2 kilometres to the top of this very steep climb, the gap continuing to tumble as Jan Christian moves through to the front. And also Jan Tratnik just on his left for Red Bull Borahansgrohe. Jai Hindley just behind him as well.
It's going to be a conundrum, this one. After all that effort that was put in, Michael Storer re-embeds himself. Do you think it was as effective as it could have been? Because he burnt down 3-4 other teammates as well. They did a lot of the chasing today, and now he's isolated by the group.
Yeah, I think it was more, well, let's get the gap down. Let's reduce the group to make it easier to manage, because I don't think Alaphilippe, after yesterday's efforts, can offer up much assistance to Storer in the final when it starts to go. So it's using him. I think they've made a real call on that. Right, use him now. Yeah. So at least he's done something. We've got 40 riders left. Easier to move around. You're on your own, but good luck. I think rather than wait and then just get dropped, I think that's the decision.
Yeah, a wise one by the looks of things. So let's wait and see. 16 and 22% we kind of deal with. couple of peaks for them to endure, averaging 13, and one of them at 950 metres. 22% is going to hurt. They kind of know what to expect, but at the very last, they have to do a little bit more climbing added to the exit off the Camerino. So they'll do the Camerino climb for the last time of asking, plus around 300 metres more beyond that KOM point. So we'll turn away on the next 2 occasions, but we're heading up what will ultimately be our final climb. This would be our approach to glory at the last.
Well, this is where the climb is basically in, you can look at it in 3 chunks. You've got that first steep approach, which they've just crested. There's Ganna about 100 metres behind. They're now on this little plateau. They'll have whacked it back onto the big ring, picked it back up to like 35, 40 km an hour here, and then that takes us into the Flamme Rouge. So they're just 100 metres outside the Flamme Rouge, and then it really rears up again. Super, super steep through the Flamme Rouge, and maxing out at 20%.
A little bit of a nudge between 2 here by the looks of things. I don't know whether we're going to get a secondary look at it, but kind of got tangled a bit on street furniture. Let's have a look. There's some elevated section of the centre of the road here, and it kind of, see what I mean? Curbing. It's not a nice thing.
Yeah, Ava Romeo, he's a 12th place overall.
Yeah.
The man from Movistar takes a little glance across at who tangled with him.
Broik Roland, it was, from Groupama Francis de Jure. In fact, his teammate, Brasso Fonzo, is up the road in a best performance. A lot of red off colour or counter colour sleevage going on this year. Have you noticed? You just give yourself one sleeve.
I quite like a bit of asymmetric design in terms of colour palette.
Yeah.
We can see it, both of these the French teams in front have gone. Maybe they did have a word and said we're going to go asymmetric this year. And there we go. But I tell you what, Braz Alfonso and Gregor Mühlberger, when you look at the composition of this breakaway, it's no real surprise. They are both very, very good climbers, Gregor Mühlberger in particular, and they have put quite a healthy 15 seconds into the little group containing Filippo Ganna. They've gone through the Flamme Rouge, still, of course, 59 k's to go, and that's what's still to remain on the climb. So you see that first very steep section, a little flatter mid-section, and then the last kick up through. But they won't go through the finish line, as Carlton was describing earlier. With about 300 metres to go, they'll just drop off the shoulder and then commence a really fast descent before kicking up again and dropping back down into the valley.
We will see, I think, the entrance to what will be our finale. It will be obviously barriered off at the moment, but you should see it to the left of the riders. Incidentally, 6 teams with differently coloured sleeves.
It's a good bit of research, blimey.
Yeah.
You get it all here. Stats, culture.
You know, what more can you ask for? Yeah. Cycling content. All right, we'll get back to it. So, yeah, we've got duo up the road here. Gregor Mühlberger, multiple or twice Austrian national champion, so he doesn't mind a few peaks. Coming up to a glorious gateway here, which essentially is where we will turn away from, ultimately. It's not quite at that juncture just yet, and the grind goes on, and some ambitions to dust. And Calzoni here, goodness me, it's folded over. It didn't mean slipper, doesn't it? Calzoni, well, he's slipping off the back of this group.
Yeah, very steep. This is going to be a brutal climb. Nobody really wanting to take it up too much at the front here. We're going through the feed zone. That little arrowhead off the front that you've seen is just riders making sure they're fueled up for this climb. Just through this little archway, look at that.
He's the local boy, Giulio Pelletari, isn't he?
Indeed, he is indeed.
And fated royally at every juncture. You might see some of the buildings here which were braced against collapse, but unfortunately that's not the case for Calzoni here, and he's just struggling. He might just be able to stay with it, but there's a chasing group indeed that he's going to be part of, and then ultimately I think 1:50 they've kicked on a little bit.
Yeah,
have Mühlberger and Braz Alfonso.
Yeah, it went down to 120 with Alaphilippe's long pull, but there's not quite the same willingness behind. Neither of these riders really are threatening the overall classification, and the work that Alaphilippe has done has meant that it's pretty safe to say that there's a very good chance this break at some point would be caught, but nobody wants to take it up just yet. I think the riders with ambition we'll probably want to save it until the next time up. I don't know if we'll see. There we go. Carapaz goes.
Oh, yeah. Well, he showed it yesterday. We were worried about his perhaps tactics. Well, we were questioning it. But my goodness, this is a first statement by EF Education Easy Post. He was up for it yesterday. He was thinking at one point we might even get ourselves a 1-2. I think it forced a chase as well, and certainly a breakdown of the cohesion of the chase. Possibly, ultimately, a very clever move, allowing Valgren to go on for victory. Is he going to help himself today, Richard Carapaz, or is he going to be a foil for Ben Healy later on? You just don't know.
A bit of both, I think. Remember, he's not too far down on the general classification. He's at 2:11, is currently in 14th place. And there we go, Valgren. Sorry, this is Vincenzo Albanese,
yes.
who was there. So he'll now give him a bit of pace over the top. I think the wise move is here. They've got about another 300 metres of brutal climbing, then they just swing right and then they drop off, and then it's where two teammates could really help open up a little bit of a lead. So that was clearly an instruction there. Albanese drop back, and let's try something with Richard Carapaz.
So this will be 300 metres to go, so I may have misguided you ever so slightly. They would take a left-hander and indeed take on the finish line. But there you can see the bracing of the buildings that due to that earthquake 10 years ago now. And 11 billion euros have come into indeed the region to help with the reparations. And well, the cranes that hang above the citadel here are a testament to the work that's going on.
Indeed, yeah, a lot of work. Oof. I tell you what, Carapaz has been put in difficulty by Albanese here. Just coming over the little steep bit. It continues on for a little bit longer. Remember, they're a minute behind that front group. But it is Bahrain victorious now, setting the tempo here. As Albanese leads Carapaz. And there we go. They're going to swing right. Next time, you can just see they'll swing left. They've actually buried that piece off.
Yes.
But they swing to the right, and they'll commence the descent.
Here we go then. They'll go into a little dish at altitude, then come up to a more sterling peak yet again. I'm hoping that from the aerial here, we might actually just be able to see the road ultimately where we'll head off for the finale. It doesn't take anything away from it to be able to witness it from an aerial. But yeah, we'll see. Here comes everybody.
Yep, it's quite tactical here. It looked like that was Buitrago actually on the front. I mean, interesting that he's riding here. Again, wanted to keep that Magnus Sheffield. So a lot of the GC riders, Ben Healy, all up near the front. There's a lot of teams that don't have proper domestiques. That work by Alaphilippe has basically meant that a lot of the domestiques who would normally be riding at this point are now dropped. So it's quite an interesting composition of riders. So GC guys now looking at each other as well, who's going to ride? And I think maybe Carapaz has thought, who is going to drive this one now, for what purpose? And that opens the door for him. Well, there's your stats about the earthquake.
Yeah, 2016, really badly did they suffer it in this area. But it's now a symbol of rebirth, and as you can see, it's extremely busy in terms of the work that's going on. And the arrival of the Tirreno Adriatico in the Piazza Cavour, celebrating the community that, with determination and hope, has risen once more. And we wish them all our very best for the future. It's a beautiful part of the world. Look at the stunning view as well, and for it to be so rudely disturbed by that natural phenomenon, the earthquake, which, as we say, was 6.4 on the Richter scale, and occurred at 5 kilometres below ground, but shook many a building around here, and indeed altered the lives and ended the lives of many in the region. You know, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? What a beautiful day to be in Italy and in this part of the world as well. It's glorious.
Yeah, we're in the Marche region, of course, and nestled just at the foot of the Apennines. And we're actually situated at the bottom of the climb, just off that little shoulder. Just as they turn right, we drop off. We're in a car park. We're not right in the centre of the town because it's Now, the very narrow streets, not enough room for all of the race infrastructure. But we're looking out over mountains and hills. It is absolutely stunning. So it's quite rare. We're looking at the bike race. We can't see the course at all, but what we can see is this beautiful countryside sort of stretching out and the wonderful vista in front of us.
Albanese. Well,
Job done.
Job done for today. Got himself in the break. Richard Carapaz has been slung-shot. Now then, anything Valgren can do, maybe this man can do as well. Let's wait and see. I love watching him. I love his swashbuckling style as well. There's a bit of an Alaphilippe about him as well.
Definitely.
The pair of them together, what tales they must tell. Yeah, I did that. Oh, I did that too. I did that.
Yeah, he, as you say, he's a rider that rides on pure instinct.
Yeah.
We saw that little acceleration yesterday, which I certainly had my heart in my mouth a little bit. I thought, is that the wisest thing to do, acting as a carrot? But hey, in the end, they took the win, and they've got another opportunity today. Great little bit of T-rounding there by Albanese to drop back. And this man, he just races so aggressively. He's one of the most exciting bike riders out there. You never know. It's like a coiled spring, isn't he? Quite often he rides anonymously. And quite often I know that he disappears off, does his own thing.
Goes anonymous.
And then the team have been quite open about this. But to compensate for that, when he's on form, he is a thrilling rider to watch. He's got a racing heart. He really has. The former Olympic champion, Giro d'Italia champion too. When he gets stuck in and when his mind is focused, it is really something to behold. And he's got now put a minute into the peloton and is closing on that group. So the peloton at 2:21 and still in front, Mühlberger and Blas Alfonso.
Yeah, he had a spectacular Giro, didn't he, last year? And I was very sort of, how can we put this, honest in his appraisal of Isaac Del Toro and the tactics that were involved at the end. And of course Simon Yates
profited,
enjoying something that ultimately turned out to be a bookend to his career.
Yep. And now, as you say, retired. But no, I don't think. I wonder if they've actually had a conversation, Carapaz and Del Toro, since. But sometimes the best way to do it is just to jump off the front and just race your bike.
Yeah.
It was, let's say, fantastic finish of the Giro last year. Also ridiculously anomalous. So many questions. And I don't imagine that Richard Carapaz wrote a Christmas card to Mr. Del Toro. But there we go.
Yes, Carapaz and Del Toro, there were words at the end. Basically, Carapaz was wanting Del Toro to do some work to give themselves the best chance and the best result. And Del Toro decided, whether it was team orders or lack of experience, I do not know, not to help out. And in so doing, Simon Yates squirreled off and won the whole thing. They then had a chat, or not. Certainly Richard Carapaz was very descriptive of his opinion of what had gone on, and he certainly knew where the fault lay in his mind. Oh dear. I have to say, I really admired Isaac Del Toro and the way he carried himself afterwards. And when he was asked about the loss, because he was in the leader's jersey at the beginning of that crucial day, he said, they said, "You're smiling." He said, "Yeah, well, I've had a great race. It's been an absolute privilege." He said, "But believe me, once I finish this interview, I'll probably go back to my hotel room and have a cry." He actually said it in the interview. And my heart went out to him at that moment. I thought, you know what?
Hey, it's
a
life.
Young man, these things come and these things go, but he would have learnt an awful lot from it.
Oh, yeah, the team would have learnt a lot. He would have learnt a lot. Hey, it's in the past. It's happened. But it's important sometimes that we look back over races and scenarios, because you just learn from them every single time. That one of these riders
himself.
Yeah.
Scenario in the tour.
Yeah, well, that was less. I mean, that was wasn't tactical, was it?
Yes.
But yeah, equally as devastating,
yes,
but in a different way. But no, you learn every time you swing your leg over a bike and pin a number on. You learn, and every single rider in this peloton is learning. It's like an infinite amount of different scenarios and situations that play out on the road. Every day is a school day. Some lessons are harder than others, but Del Toro now one of the finest riders in the world, and I've no doubt, Carlton, that I think we'll see him on the top step of a Grand Tour podium in the next few years, if not this year. Who knows?
Certainly hope
Maybe
so.
not the Tour, perhaps, but in the next couple of years.
This makes for dramatic pictures. Powder flares, but the secret's in the name. They're made of powder. They're supposed to adhere to a sea surface. They're for nautical use
Yeah.
in extremis. they're not used to support very deep breathing riders who have to go through
acrid. They'll choke you. Like you say, they might look good from the air. We get them on the run into around the Tre Capi, don't we, Milano San Remo. There's always a cluster there, and breathing in that smoke while you're on the very limit is dangerous.
They tried to ban it
don't bring them to races.
No, it's not supposed to be there. They tried to ban it on the Tour de France, actually. I have to say, I started a bit of a campaign to get them banned, and they said under French law we can't ban them because you can't ban a safety item. But they invoked this, which was fantastic. They added it to the list of things that a policeman can tell you to stop doing. For that, they didn't have to go through and make some parliamentary changes. And so basically, if a policeman told you to not light it and you ignored it, then you could be arrested. And they disappeared for 2 or 3 years.
When I was in the force many years ago, that sort of situation, we'd call it this. We call it the Ways and Means Act.
That's exactly it, which is more easily amended than changing the law.
Exactly. Ways and Means.
Yes, exactly. Matt Stevens, of course, former policeman. But yeah, still very much rules and regs, which we like. Until he eases off. There's a story to be told there, and it's not. It's not now.
It's for another day.
51.8 kilometres to go, and Pitbull Ghana still looks good, but this is a training ride, I think, today.
Yeah, it's just. He's up the road again, very much like that little detail we saw with Richard Carapaz jumping across to his teammate Albanese, who helped out. This could be a similar situation for Filippo Ganna. Remember, they've got Magnus Sheffield behind, Tymons Arensman as well, who is still in that break behind. So get up the road, see what happens. You can provide a stepping stone, because Sheffield's still in a very good position on the general classification. And they've already got the stage win with Ganna, who won the opening time trial. I'm sure they'd like to win a road stage as well. And the flip side is he gets another good workout before a nice taper ahead of Milano San Remo. But this man is making up ground. He's got 1 minute and 2 seconds, as you can see there on the peloton. And he's closing slowly but surely.
Yep.
Still got the best thick end of 1 minute and 50 seconds to get back into contact with Calzone, Kilic, Silva and Ganna. But he's doing a good job.
Well, they are the chasing group, and he's at minute 17, they're at 52, so he's only
25 seconds, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's even closer, Matt.
He is, it's my math, or maths.
Yeah, there's an S in there. Never forget that. And there are particulates in the lungs of some very adept athletes.
There's that attack.
I think he wanted to get away from the purple smoke.
That was a big move. That was Fran Milosevic on the front there, looking round and thinking, what, has that lad just been launched from a rocket? This man has got such a punch, such an acceleration, devastating turn of speed. And he did put himself into the red because there was a little bit when Albanese was dropping him. Then he took a breath over the top, and now he's a man on a mission. And as you say, he's closing rapidly on that group behind. And I think in the next 5 or 6 Ks, Carlton, he will get to that group. And we'll see what happens. He's got himself on the front foot here.
He has. It's fantastic. Yeah, it was like, I wonder if he was so adept there. You kind of think, well, does he train using a circus cannon in the back garden? Away he went.
He's like it, isn't it? When you look at all these big race wins, they're off the back of a scintillating attack like that.
Yeah.
But what Carapaz can do after that attack, like the best riders, know that the art of one of the skills and the abilities you need to win a bike race, especially if you're going to win solo, is to attack, snap the elastic, and then keep it going. Put yourself into the red, drop just below threshold, and then hold it, and it hurts. And some riders can do those repeated efforts. Del Toro can do those repeated efforts as well. This man similarly, and is clearly on a good day. Bit between his teeth, and 22 seconds is the gap now.
I love the way that EF Education East Post are just prepared to take it on. They're full of the brave. I think when Mr. Varitas is actually writing down his list of attributes, I think bravery is absolutely one of them, quite clearly, because they ride with their heart on their sleeve sometimes.
Yeah, they've always had an interesting lineup, and Jonathan Bortz has been. He was very complimentary, of course. Wrote a nice piece on Instagram yesterday. Posted a picture of Volgren and the trials and tribulations and the win after 5 years. But also, he realises that they're a team with a good budget, but not the biggest budget. They haven't got an Ineos budget or a UAE kind of budget, so they have to really think about the riders that they hire. And he's been really honest in the fact that he's hired Richard Carapaz, who's on good money, but he knows what he's bought in Richard Carapaz. He said, because he will win big for us, but then we know he'll be anonymous for a couple of months and then come back. But he said, we weigh it up. Do we want somebody that's just, consistent but average, or somebody that's sometimes absent, but then sometimes, yet regularly, will bring back the most glittering of prizes? And this is an example. Yeah. Bettiol is another example of that, who rode for the same team, now is with Astana. So Wouters uses money wisely and knows the sort of rider that he's getting. He understands this man is, how can we say, slightly dysfunctional, I would say, Carapaz.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
But if Mercurial is something magnificent, because
exactly,
you get the absolute highs. And, here he is, doing a fantastic job. He's fully focused. He's double-checked through a couple of corners. Done it brilliantly.
You can just see the back end of the group there as well.
Exactly. Here he goes. And it's still chopping it down here. What is it, 24 seconds now in arrears? 22. My maths is as bad as yours now. 8 plus 14. There you go, 22.
They've actually worked it out for us. We'd have just looked at the graphic, Carlton. We'd have been better than trying to work out how rudimentary.
They put that in after we've made such a hash of it. So
they probably thought in the production
room,
in the OB truck, they're thinking, "Oh my God,
what are they like?
What are they like? Let's do the math for them.
Can we help them
out?" It's actually a very nice graphic. It really is. It's nice and informative. Gives you a real sense of what's happening, especially when the race gets a bit more chaotic, which it will over the next couple of acts. Expect the moves to come.
Okay. We are going to have a look at a bit of postcard of where we are indeed right now. And indeed where the busiest two cafes, they're a bit harried, I've got to tell you, are indeed seated. These guys just getting themselves a beautiful turn. Should we check out the beauty of our destination? Was that a bit of Vangelis? I'm not quite sure.
It was very synth heavy. I quite liked it. It was slightly Nordic.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Second Tirreno Adriatico to finish in Camerino after the stage 6 in 2009. And an Italian podium lockout. It was Michele Scarpone, Stefano Garzelli and Ivan Basso. 3 fabulous names there, Matt.
Well, I'm going to look back. I'm going to find that race due to the beauty of the internet.
Stage 6 in 2009.
That's it, stage 6.
Thanks to Pro Cycling Stats for giving us the heads up on that.
Yeah, similar. That's a different sort of profile. Yeah, Scarpone, Stefano Garzelli, who's just sat in the corner over there. Second.
He looked over when I mentioned his name and threw a Haribo at us.
Well, that's what he's like, isn't he? Basso, De Luca, Rodriguez, Rebellin, Hesdal. Yeah, but a slightly different circuit. That lap, we just did one ascent up to Camerino, just finished up the climb. But we went up the Sassotetto on that particular day. But yeah, so it's been a fair while since we last visited.
Yeah, he wasn't known as the crocodile, but he's thrown one at me. It's a blue Haribo crocodile.
And nobody knows still what flavour blue Haribo are. Anyway, back to the racing. Ganna, Calzoni, Kielik and Silva looking over the shoulders, and they're about to see a former Olympic champion joining their ranks in the form of Richard Carapaz.
He's got a squirrel into vision. Yep. Here he is. Oh, look at that. Ali.
A welcome ally, I think.
Yes, well, they were telling him, weren't they? He goes over to join Ganna, Calzoni, Kielik and Silva and Carapaz. It's going to be a quintet of chasers, but at a minute to Mulberger and Bras Alfonso. Do you know that pairing up front are pretty handy? Braço Fundo is a very decent climber. Won the tour of took a stage on the tour of Guadalupe, which actually is a very beautiful tropical destination if you want to go and have a look. But yeah, Paris 3 came close. Can go very, very well. Right now, though, Carapaz is starting to badge himself up as definitely somebody to be pondered about, even for the victory. I know it's a long way to go, 45 kilometres, and I know the lead is tenuous over the blue jersey. But on his day, when he's riding like this, when his gander is up, Carapaz is not to be dismissed at any juncture.
No, he latches onto the wheel, straight into the slipstream of Guillermo Thomas Silva, the Greek rider, of course, and will just wait. He's just going to... Uruguayan, sorry.
You've moved him across the north.
I did it the other day, didn't I?
Yeah,
I did it the other day.
Time slip. He goes in.
Do you know what? I'm doing it, and just to see if you're awake, and you very much are. It's the do you know what it was? It was the flag from a distance of my eyesight.
It's Uruguay. It's got a beautiful sunny face.
Not from this distance.
Reminds me of the Teletubbies, but obviously it predated Teletubbies back in the day.
But I think... I don't know how long he's going to ride with him for before he maybe clips off. But like you say, it's a healthy lead. And look what's happening behind. That lead, that minute gap that he's crossed has now been whittled down. 1:43 to Peloton. And UET Emirates XRG have taken things up.
Showing
thank you.
I
do know
the smiley face of the Uruguayan flag.
Thank you.
Very distinct. Minute 41 is the gap. That's having a minor huff now, which is amusing me no end. We have 44 kilometres until we get to the line. And yes, check it out. Solid chase. And Pello Bilbao is he's thinking, well, if Carapaz is going to do this, I'm going to have a go as well. The old stages are coming to the fore now, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, the way that they're riding on the front here, lots of glancing around. Del Toro having a look. Maybe something's happened there. But it looks like it's the figure of Jan Christian on the front here.
This is a great sifting map. We've got some fabulous names here. Roglic can have a go on a day like today. Pello Bilbao likewise. Of course, the leaders of this race. But maybe we need to cast our minds back to some of those. I mean, but Stephen Kruijswijk here has been actually going very, very well. I'd love to see him go, but he'll be working for Jorgensen, who's Mr. Strength at the moment. But we've got Ciccone in here as well. We've got Michael Storer. This is a smorgasbord of really punchy, explosive, determined, flamboyant entertainers.
I think the one thing that Carapaz has got to think about now is bought himself that 30 seconds. How long does he remain with this group? And on the flatter section, I think the answer is he needs to ride with them. But once we hit the climb again, he might need to go alone. There's going to be a lot of fatigue in this group. He's clearly the best climber, but it's going to take a lot out of him. What he doesn't want now is for that big effort to be wasted. So he's happy to work with these riders. But that often happens. You clip across to a group making a massive solo effort, which at this stage of the race will dig deep into your reserves, and then it's completely neutralised and rendered worthless when the bunch gets back on terms. So I think at some point we might see Carapaz taking things into his own hands. It won't be just yet because he needs that opportunity to recuperate. And as a collective, these lads are all riding pretty well. But once I think we hit the slopes of the climb again, the steep section that is, he might try and go and make an effort to bridge across to these pair.
They're not hanging around. In fact, they've stretched their advantage. It's 1:07 now. They've gone well beyond the minute. I mean, it's ebbing and flowing, isn't it? It was down to like 58 seconds, but now it's actually sweated back out again as they show their descending prowess. When is the big attack point for the hopefuls within the pack itself, who are sitting at 95 seconds off the lead at the moment? When I say it like that, it doesn't sound like much, but in this terrain, 1:35, it's really difficult to wind in.
I think they could lose a lot on the climb next time up, and we've seen how steep it is. You could lose in... we saw what Alaphilippe did in one lap to the breakaway.
True. Before
these lads clipped off, and that was one man who has had a really difficult day yesterday, so Alaphilippe's done his thing. I do think this gap could come down very quickly just on one of those climbs. I think that one complete ascent of the climb up to Camerino, that steep bit at the bottom, that middle section, and then through the archway and in through to the town, one ascent you could lose a minute easy if the likes of Del Toro go full gas up here, or if a team puts somebody on the front to really commit to the chase. But look at the way Christian is leaning into these corners. It's like his life depends on it. He's not hanging around. This is not conservative riding at all. Knee out, MotoGP style, and are really putting riders under pressure. In fact, Del Toro's just drifted off the back wheel of that clutch of riders from Bahrain Victorious, but Christian is certainly having fun on this descent.
He is almost chomping at the bit here, but wanting to keep his teammates around him. Pello Bilbao, who I think is probably the best descender here. But yeah, I think this would be a great attack point, because if you are going to take advantage or at least spend some of your resources well, it's going to have to be on this descent for the final time of asking. So where do you attack to get yourself that margin to get into that descent, to extend it? It's at the next climb, as you say, Matt.
Yeah, they're going to make a difference on the climb. And that little run in a moment, we hit the bottom of the descent, and then you've got that long drag. And that was where we saw the last couple of kilometres that were done by Alaphilippe before everybody else took over. So we're just heading onto a big main road in the next couple of Ks as we look at the Rocca d'Argelo.
We passed by this and said it reminded us of some of our toys of our youth.
It's just a classic-looking fortress, isn't it? Or a castle, as we would say.
Yeah.
Very, very square, very old as well. You can just say that the simpler designs denote the age of these gorgeous edifices around them. 1200s.
But remodelled in the 1800s. They probably thought, this needs smartening up. And they've done a good
Bit
job.
of pointing.
Yeah. Get your little trowel out. Your lime mortar. Anyway, 39.5 kilometres from home. It's trimming down nicely, isn't it? Chasing group at 1 minute and 15 now. They're still putting time into them. Mulberg and Bras Alfonso are not to be discounted. However, just look at the peloton driving on, and indeed now only what? A modest margin of 17 seconds behind the group with Richard Carapaz. It's coming together.
Yeah, Carapaz on this next section. They're on the bottom of the descent now, and we've got this 10K run-in to the finish. It was about 8 Ks before we hit that climb again. This is the group in between, but it does look, with the gap at only 17 seconds, and the peloton will have this group in their sights as well. And also, you know, Carapaz does pose a threat. Okay, it's a relatively distant one, comparatively speaking, but you don't want to give the likes of Carapaz too much leeway on a circuit like this. He is such a dangerous rider. So that chasing by Christian has that added sense of urgency. They just want to make sure they don't make any mistakes today. And also, it's a clear indication to me that it's not just about defending Del Toro's lead. They want the stage win.
Well, he might tell Dorothy at the end of the day if he has victory. You know, first to be called. 1:33. Should we invest? They've got to, haven't they? Because it's kind of getting now or never. To start trying to close down that kind of margin this time, next time by, it's far too late. 38.6 kilometres only of the day. And look at the big chit-chat that's going on amongst Bahrain Victorious. Pello Bilbao was very honest with us at the top of the day, wasn't he? He said, yeah, I'm having a go.
Yeah, if they get a minute, if they keep a minute's lead over the top of the climb, they've got a very good chance of staying in front. But remember, they could lose easy 45 seconds on that one, those two steep stretches. It's even the class of Mulberg and Bras Alfonso, as we saw yesterday. Remember that lead that Volgren had with Alaphilippe? They had about a minute at the bottom of the climb, and over the top it was 10, 15 seconds. They can eat into that lead, especially with the hunger and the drive and the desire from several riders to try and get a stage win out of this race. They've pulled out a little bit more, 22 seconds now. It was down to 15, 1:33 to the peloton. So they've basically taken away a lot of the danger that this man poses, but they're still driving hard on the front. And Christian probably asking for some instructions. Do you want me to keep on riding?
Yeah.
What is the score? And remember, Isaac Del Toro doesn't want to be isolated on this sort of terrain. I'm just looking at how many other teammates he's got. He's got a few. There he is. He's just having a word there with Kevin Vermaak, who's blooded and bruised after that crash, but looks okay apart from losing quite a lot of skin.
Yeah, turn granny to the wall a moment, as the great David Duffield, who we've mentioned a couple of times today, would have said. Moving on. Ballast being parked up there by some. It's clearly getting to the business end of the day. Everybody is in colour order, basically to respond, that's it. They've had a word.
Even Carapaz has thought, well, the thing is, they're making that much inroads that quickly. If Carapaz keeps on riding here, he's just going to waste energy.
Yep.
So, okay, that effort has been neutralised, but that won't dim his spirit. That's just bike racing sometimes. You have to try to succeed, and more often than not in racing, you actually fail. So Carapaz will use this little bit of an opportunity to rest up, get some gels down, a bit of food, shake out the legs, take the strain out a little bit, take a breath, and then go again.
Discretion is the greater part of valour on occasion. That's precisely what we're seeing right now. He just needs to bide his time, give himself an opportunity to go again. I still think he's got something within him. But, yeah, I think as well, this is Pippo Ganna not wanting to overinvest on a day when he's done a job for himself going forward, hasn't he?
Exactly. And also Ganna's thinking, OK, how much have I got left in the tank? I've had a big day. I've also got a couple of teammates that I could do something for. So why ride in the wind for another 5 or 6 Ks, burning more energy unnecessarily when you can use it to better effect and in a more meaningful way from a team perspective. So everybody's just eased up here, including Ganna, and wisely including Richard Carapaz, as Christian in the next few moments sews things back together, and it's just 2 out in front.
I'm wondering just how crucial teammates are going to be for Isaac Del Toro when he decides to invest, and there will come that moment when he does, because he's incredibly adept at following others as well. And I think to a certain extent he's so far ahead, even of no disrespect to any of his team, of any of his team, that he's a proper starter. And this is a brief chat that he's having now. I don't know what your slow-mo lip reading is like, but yeah, he's such a class apart, isn't he? It seems when he decides to impose himself, it is quite startling.
Yeah, he's super confident, isn't he? I don't exactly know what was said, but immediately after that conversation, Kevin Vermaak did drop back and get some gels and bottles. They're going to be the first car. It's only a small group, wouldn't have taken him very long. He's given Jan Christian a bit of fuel, and has now taken things up himself, I think, or has settled into. Yeah, so it's still Christian on the front, and Vermaak looks like he's the only other teammate for Isaac Del Toro. I'm looking back down the group, and Del Toro would be surrounded by the rest of his teammates, so he needs to choose wisely what he does, because it's basically the climb is going to be at home because he can follow anybody on the climb, but it's this particular section next time round that he's got to be very careful. So I think that they use Jan Christian now, but he keeps Kevin Vermaak for the next time through to cover any moves that will go on the flat. So Del Toro is more exposed on the flat than the climb because he can cope with anything. On the flat, it's a little bit different, and it could get a little bit stressful tactically. But right now, the pace that they're setting at the front with Christian means that nobody's minded to attack because it's a good pace, and also they know that there might be some attacks from anybody on the next time up the climb. So everybody's just holding back a little bit, and this is allowing this duo out in front, who are riding very effectively, to extend their lead ever so slightly. So 3.2 Ks to the foot of the ferociously steep climb.
If Del Toro is isolated, he's going to come into the clutches of those who basically force him to chase, because there'll be several options within some of these teams. And look at the phalanx of Visma Lease bike. They've got most of their team still here and intact, so they've got plenty of opportunities to actually test indeed Del Toro. Of course, Wout van Aert, it would be a great result for him if he manages to pull it off today. But I'm thinking it's Matteo Jorgensen who's been incredibly strong over the last couple of days. He's had some great finishes, including, of course, well, we're talking about him nearly constantly, it seems. Yeah,
he's been getting better and better. There was some really interesting stats for those of you interested in the power numbers. That effort that he did on the climb a couple of days ago on the stage ultimately won by Van der Poel, it was something like 550 watts for nearly 2 minutes, which is big numbers, hence only 11 riders.
If you're ever going to see those numbers yourself, you kind of bump into them and then come straight off.
Exactly, yeah. If you're ever in a gym, try it, and I can guarantee you might not probably get to it, and if you did, you'll be fried. But yeah, he's flying, and he's getting better and better every day, and was one of the only rider that could match Del Toro after those hammer blow attacks that ultimately snapped the elastic on the climb yesterday. So Jorgensen looking good, and as you were saying, he's got several teammates there with him, including Wout van Aert. Yeah, Isaac Del Toro, 2 teammates with him, so we shall see.
Roglic as well, I've got to say, with Pellizzari. Jai Hindley still very much ensconced.
They've got
haven't seen Moscon, but I wouldn't be surprised on this kind of terrain if he was also there, although he's coping less well with it over the last couple of seasons than he did in his historic days when he was backing up people like Trentin and others in the World Champs. It was almost an automatic pick as a super domestique back in the day. Bras Alfonso then with Gregor Mühlberger, and they've got a minute and 27, so paired back very gently. I actually thought this might be now our attack point for somebody who is very, very minded to indeed roll off just when we get to the absolute foot of the climb to go this far out. We'll see whether anyone's tempted out of the pack here, but there'll be quite a few chasers, if anyone goes now, I think, because they're all aware of the opportunity.
Yeah, and a lot of riders on this particular section have had a relatively easy ride in the wheels. Although it's dragging uphill, it's fast. But when they turn right now and the road starts to kick up, there we go. We're looking like it's Visma Lease bike who are taking things up at the front. There is Wout van Aert in the second wheel. Jorgensen slotting to third. Kruijswijk still there as well. James Shaw also there, the first rider in pink. And he's got Ben Healy on his wheel and Lucas Nurikar just behind him as Carapaz just drops towards the back of that group.
23 seconds separating Del Toro and Pellizzari. Giulio Pellizzari is local, so essentially he's going home. Still part of the race, but he's heading home today because this is where he grew up, bless him. 33 kilometres then remaining, so it's still a way out, but a lot of options, including Pinarello, as Matt was mentioning, for NSN Cycling. He's been riding exceptionally well. Does tend to blow a bit hot and cold.
Yeah, he's been unspectacular but consistent.
Yep.
And there he is just on the inside.
8th yesterday, he was.
Yeah, just behind.
8th the day before. Just trying to find out another of his top 10. 6 on stage 2, so he's been handy, as you say.
Yeah, he's just sort of crept up stealthily. That's been consistent, as you say. He's floated up the general classification by virtue of just being there or thereabouts, but he's got a teammate with him for company, making sure that he is in a good position for when this road kicks up. Because as you can see, the way the teams are riding, they're expecting something to happen, and they're best be on the front foot than on the back foot. And the teammate riding for him at the moment is Nick Schultz.
Yeah, it's that sort of sky blue, pink, orange, navy. There's probably a few other colours in there as well. They went crazy with the. Do you think the designer just gave it to his daughter to fill in? She went for pastels.
I quite like the kit, actually. I quite like the kit.
Now I'm describing it. You know, me too as well. It's very distinctive, and they separate into team order and spearing up through the middle. It's Uno-X Mobility, who've had some very good results themselves. I've got to say that Tobias Johannesson is tempted on days like today, and they're clearly teeing it up for him. He had a good finish yesterday.
Yeah, he was really on form yesterday. He's moved up. Out of the top 10, he moved up the most yesterday. He moved up 6 places from 12th to 6th position. He now sits at 108. And on the stage was actually 4th, just behind Matteo Jorgensen. So he's been very consistent. And as you were saying, Carlton, as we've seen displayed a real willingness to get stuck in and attack. And each move he's made has been relatively significant. This is where the road really starts to kick up now. 2.6k to the top. 109 now is the lead for our 2 riders in front. Will we see any attacks, or will we just see a constant pace next time up? That remains to be seen.
It's an attacking point.
It is.
But it's still 50-50. I just don't know.
It's exactly. Well, that's what we like, isn't it?
Yeah. How hard was yesterday?
I like it when we don't know. And of course, we are on day 6 as well. There's some riders are going to be feeling that little bit of fatigue as well. But most of the GC contenders do have teammates with them for company.
Oh, a change here of pace. And it's Bras Alfonso who's kicking on, you know, on this 21 percenter. This is a really nasty bit of road. Thankfully, it's dry today. We've been really blessed with the weather, I've got to say. Most days have had some sunshine. Even on drizzly days, there's been some brightness out there. So it's not been a washout. Primož Roglic has been called to order as well. The start of the climb then, everyone mindful that this could be a launch point, and Carapaz is out of the saddle again. Look at him. He suddenly finds a bit of drive. In fact, Ben Healy is the man who's squirted up to the front here, just tilting his head. Meanwhile, a well-earned break there for Filippo Ganna. And indeed, it's now, is it? Is anyone going to be tempted? Is Ben Healy going to roll through and have a dig here? He often tempos up inclines like this. And I'm inclined to think that he might well be tempted again. Let's wait and see. At the moment, they're marking each other out. This is actually quite a decent pace up here.
Yeah, it's a decent pace. You can see it's now gone under a minute. So Unox leading. There's just a Jan Christian constantly looking around. Matteo Jorgensen just impassive there, taking a bottle out, throwing it to the foot of one of the Tifosi. Tymon Aronsman out of the saddle in the orange and white and black of the Ineos Grenadiers, and then Healy in the centre bobbing around.
Well, here he goes. Had to happen. This is the erstwhile Mr. Tratnik, who was apparently DNS'd a couple of days ago, but clearly that was in error. Still very much part of proceedings. Others are starting to grind down here. Narurko, who's part of the drive to get to this point for EF, is here. Have you noticed that Del Toro's up towards the front, just making his way up almost silently there, arriving like a zeppelin in the night, full of threat and indeed capability, but arriving silently into the scene. The centre of the road opens up, and there is indeed Healy. When's he going to go? Look at Del Toro, though. Still, it seems not even mouth breathing. He always looks well within himself, doesn't he, at moments like
he
this?
does. He's just moving up slowly but surely. Clearly, Jan Christian has decided to pick up the pace a little bit. Remember, they said they're going to ride defensively. You asked the question at the top of the programme, does he want to win a stage? It's doubtful he'll win tomorrow because it should be one for the sprinters. So today is the day to really stamp his authority on this race. He's done it already, but in the absence of a stage win, he does look ominous. He looks easy as well. That's the thing about Del Toro. He just looks very, very easy. Good to see Pinarello right at the head of affairs here on the wheel of Jan Christian. But yeah, impassive in blue is Isaac Del Toro. No attacks as yet, but still 1,700 metres to the top this time round.
Yeah, no, if we were doing a clicker, it would have been going down like a countdown to an Apollo launch. He was in 10th, 9th, 8th, and no, we're just watching him move up, and everyone's aware of it. But what are you going to do about it? That's the big question.
And the thing is, it is a big lap on your own as well. I mean, I'm sure if he took the right combination of riders with him, if they could follow him, he'd go for it. But also, again, because of the size of this group, let's say Del Toro tries to go.
Here we go. He's called for a little bit of kicker, and he's in there.
Yeah, if Del Toro did try to go, it's a long way to ride on your own, and there's a big group of riders here, and it won't take them too long to reconfigure and actually chase him back, and then he's exposed last time up. So we'll see. There's so many different ways this one can go, but right now they are in control. But still a minute to our leaders, who are doing a cracking ride here.
Pellizzari's in the white jersey. Roglic is the meat and the sandwich here between those two jerseys of Del Toro, the leader's blue jersey. Ciccone is pretty handy and in the vanguard as well, but all of this manoeuvring has actually eaten into the advantage of our breakaway. 57 seconds, just sweating back out again as they kick on to a minute, but yeah, it's the pointy end of the day, and several points and a big one to be made at the very last, I guess you might say. We're going to come up to Camerino, and they're graphicized for us. 18.6% on that second kick, but a maximum of 22%. It's got ouch written all over it.
It has, and the group behind will see them in the sights. There'll only be about 300-400 metres between them, especially on that steeper section as Jan Christian continues to plough on. It's bouncing to has just gone under a minute now, 58 seconds. Pinarello there in third, still locked in third place. Just rolling. He's got that snake hip sort of style, isn't he? Just gently rocking the shoulders back into impassive, not any bit of emotion on his face. Pellizzari just behind, just behind Primoz Roglic, who's having a drink, and also just behind there is Jai Hindley. So Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, plenty of teammates at the disposal of young Pellizzari.
This is pent up, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm actually just wondering who's going to break first and go for it. There's a lot of will here, but is there a way to beat Del Toro, or indeed Giulio Pellizzari, who's going to be hyper-motivated today? I think if anyone was going to beat Del Toro today, he'd quite like it to be Pellizzari. Old mates, as we've mentioned, different teams now. But here we go, it starts to grind.
Yeah, this is great riding again by Jan Christian. He's been aggressive all week. He's been absolutely fine. Bais moves up on the outside for Polti Visit Malta. Good riding by him. Hathaway there in the purple. And they've got another teammate coming up, Kevin Vermaak. Again, look at his right side, that awful crash earlier on. That right cuissard, that right short, torn to absolute pieces. But he's moving up to maybe pick things up for UAE Team Emirates. So another little glance around, and it is Pinarello who's moving through now.
Vendrame being guided up here, and the man helping is Alessandro Covi, who's ridden exceptionally well here in the plum. Just getting an exchange of bottles with gels attached, and Roglic goes to the front, grabs another one, and several gels as well. They're not going to take any more of a feed because they know this is going to kick off. They want as much sustenance on board as they can possibly get before the action begins, and it's any moment now. The pace on the approach here has been magnified. It's magnified the time difference, if you will, the differential, and it has come down to that narrowing has been shown to us. 48 seconds only as we hit 16% out of the saddle. A few more teammates now assembled in front of Del Toro just to make their impact felt, if indeed he requires their help. And these guys, well, they'll probably need a lifeboat at the end of this one because I don't think they're going to sail home. Let's have a look further back down, shall we? And they've got their hares, both of them, in sight of this pack of hounds. Who's going to have a nibble first?
Yeah, this is interesting, isn't it? They're only about 200 or 300 metres in front as they go through the arch. We got that shot then of the rear mech and the gearing of Gregor Mulberg. He's on the bottom gear. That just shows you how ridiculously steep this is. Only 200 metres to go for these two before they crest the top, drop over the shoulder of this climb. But Del Toro sitting in the centre there in blue, and nobody wanting to take the bait at the moment because the pace, I think, is just that little bit too high as well. So a great job being done by Jan Christian. Seated, little glance over the shoulder there for Jai Hindley, and he will see that this group is still pretty sizable. No big accelerations as yet.
It's coming any moment now. Quintana is still here. He's bouncing brilliantly today, I've got to say. Loving watching him. Tiemann Arendsman for Ineos Grenadiers as well also has a great deal of efficacy on a day like today. 29.5 kilometres before this day is resolved, and plenty more pitching and tossing to be done before we actually take this climb for the final time. And then for one time only, we'll take a left-hander on the last couple of hundred metres to take us up to the finish line. Top of the climb is approaching.
I think that Del Toro, well, the steepest part of the climb's now done. There's this little ramp just to come before they drop off the side. Then, of course, we've got that kicker over the top. So we've got that little plateau, and then it kicks over the top. I just think Del Toro is confident that he can take the win from that group. I think he knows that he can match anything, and there's no point in attacking too early because there is a risk, given the size of this group, given the fact no big gaps have opened up yet. If he does try and go now, he'll be brought back and leaves himself exposed with only a couple of teammates on that flatter, complex section. So play it safe. Let's keep the gap down. Let's make sure it's bridgeable. And then I think he's so confident, the form he's shown so far in this race, to finish things off and actually leave them towards the bottom of that climb. I think he's got it in him to do that, and that appears to be the plan.
Yeah, I mean, there's been probing, hasn't there? And he's actually called for pace himself, and in so doing, he's been reading everyone around him.
Yep.
I think that last move, you know, where he moved through from 10 and up to third place, I think even then he proved something to himself. Look, I've got something in my legs in the locker that others do not have. So he's got the confidence to do it. He's calling for yet more pace here as well, and he remains planted while others are adjusting their pace in and out of the saddle, bobbing up and down like jack in the boxes. But yeah, he's the man that's going to have the full display. 28 seconds now is the dual advantage. They don't have to panic, do they?
No, they don't have to panic at all. They've taken a minute off on that climb.
There's our comms position.
That's us, just bottom right. We can't give you a wave, but that is where we are, just in that little car park there, just halfway down the hill, as Braz Alfonso drops off the climb. There he is. This is a good ride by both of those riders, but the fact that Isaac Del Toro has still got Christian there, and indeed Kevin Vermaak, means that they've got enough, I think, to bring this back without using any of the other teams. But of course, the other team is going to want to try something, so maybe we will see some attacks earlier on. But right now, they're biding their time. I think because they know Del Toro is so strong, they've almost been not frightened, but are just holding back a little bit. But I think we're going to see some action on the last lap. We have to. They're not going to give this race to Isaac Del Toro. But the thing is, at what point on this finishing circuit have some of these bigger teams thought that the best place to attack is?
Very, very nice of you to give Henry Winkler a name.
I did,
check
the Fonz. The Fonz. Braz Alfonso, of course. Yeah, happy days.
Fonz Al Brazo, yeah.
It's a very interesting name, isn't it? Come on, Braz Alfonso.
It is.
Henry Winkler.
I don't know what the mix is. Henry Winkler's not a bad name either as well. A winkler being somebody who hunts for winkles, which are very small shellfish. Vongole, I think they call them here. Let's move on. 27. In fact,
They are vongole indeed.
yeah, I'm going to have
One of
some
Massey's
tomorrow.
favourites, our producer.
Exactly. I'm going to have some of that tonight. 27.3 kilometres from home, and 40 seconds is the gap. So many segues there. Anyway, 40 seconds only, and the business end of the day is now. The end is nigh, but well, what, nigh on 27 kilometres still remaining, and the uneven terrain is reflected for about the next 15 kilometres before we drop down, about 10 kilometres actually before we have that descent. I'm waiting to see when Bilbao is going to play his hand. It's got to be on the descent, but I think he's going to make a move. It possibly be snuffed out. Who knows? Depends on the power around him, but he's going to give it a go. He's told us he's going to give it a go. He's got teammates around it. It's just one of the elements of the remaining chapter that we have to enjoy.
Yeah, I think just to focus on the Bahrain victorious rider and what he said at the top of the show, I don't think he's quite got the legs to follow the moves on the climbs, but as you quite rightly said, he's got the technical ability to make a difference on the descent. So we've got this little bit of flat to come, and we've just got another little kicker that's about a kilometre, not insignificant climb, and then we drop down, kick up again, and then we've got the descent, which has got some pretty technical corners on it. I'm wondering if he's going to try there, or just go in one of those dippers, accelerate into one of those small little climbs and go over the top and open up a gap. But of course, then he's got to get rid of the two riders in front of him. So, but we shall see. All of the teams, all the different riders here who are eyeing a potential stage win will have their plans in their back pocket. But right now, it's quite clearly a bit of a waiting game. This hasn't really sort of reached that climax just yet, but expect it in the next 26 Ks.
Some ancient, indeed, games are played here. The 1130 metres race and an archery competition. I don't know what you'd call that. It's some sort of biathlon, really, isn't it? Bit of running, bit of archery. It's almost part of a modern pentathlon. Michael Stora's still in here, by the way. That could be a story today. Whoever wins today is going to be part of something dramatic. Oh, look at that, empty.
He hasn't got much left.
No.
Yeah, he is giving it absolutely everything here. He might try and take him to the top of this next one. Kevin Vermaak is there. Still there after that crash, remember, but we were talking about him just a few moments ago. He's on the wheel of his teammate Fran Milosevic, and that is Pelel Bilbao. So Bilbao is on the wheel of Isaac Del Toro, so P5 just behind the Malia Azora at the moment, and that group has thinned. One or two riders couldn't quite hold on to the pace being set by Jan Christian on that climb, but how much longer can Christian ride at this sort of pace? A little bit of respite now as we drop down again. And then we've got that short climb, and I think it might be where Kevin Vermaak starts to take over, and hopefully for Del Toro at least, they can start to eat into that lead.
A little slew around the chapel here. That'll be the last time they see that, because the race, all this now, will be one-time viewing only until we get to our climb. So, right now, familiar roads after the circuits we've been on, but is the last time of asking through these streets right now. And it's a road to perdition for these guys. 32 seconds is all that they have.
It's slender, isn't it?
It is very.
Yeah, you do feel for them, but they're still giving it absolutely everything. And all they can do is just hope that behind the chase somehow unwinds, or there's a lack of cohesion, but it certainly doesn't appear to be the case, especially if you look at the face of Jan Christian. That tells you everything that they're going to try and just keep this pace as high as they can. Firstly, to keep these guys on a short leash to potentially open the door for that stage win, and also deter any attacks from behind, because look at the shape. This is a hard tempo that's being set, but I don't think that Jan Christian's got too much longer. Look at him again, grimacing, punching over that small rise. Yeah, great commitment by the rider from Switzerland.
I think Javier Romo and Nero Quintana.
They're both there. I did see them at the back of that group. Yeah, definitely.
It's Quintana guiding Romo today, I believe. How much support is going to be offered up to Ciccone today? I don't know. We're going to find out.
He's got Baggioli in there.
He
I've
has,
just spotted Baggioli.
As
So
hell.
I think there's 2 or 3 Lidl Trek in there, but I definitely saw Baggioli with Ciccone, who rode very well yesterday.
He did.
Again, probably his best day.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it's reflected today, but here comes the power, and it's Visma Lisa bike.
Here we go.
The yellow peril, the Wasps are at it,
Yeah.
and now it's time for the questions to be asked, and guess who's going along for the ride? It's Peo Bilbao, who's tucked in that front trio right now. There's his aero helmet, the aqua lid. So this could be a great moment for him if he gets up and over the top, because there's a sequence of 2 longish descents here. Well, Peo Bilbao will try and take advantage. Ciccone's aware and alive to the threat. Pinarello's in the vanguard as well for NSN Cycling. There's an awful lot as the attritional rate as Jan Christensen just eases off for UE Team Emirates. Ultimately, I'm afraid Del Toro is going to be isolated, and he's burnt his teammates down, so it's a question of just following whatever happens now. And Healy starts to move to the beginning, to the centre of the road. Everyone aware that it is now.
Yeah, there's a Tim Rex who's made the difference. So this is a really key, potentially key moment. Tim Rex moving through to the front to look after Jorgensen. Wout van Aert also in there as well. But look at the speed, the power of Rex as he goes over the top. This basically just punted Christian out the back. He's still got Kevin Vermaat with him. But this is where it could start to become a little bit dangerous, especially over the top, and especially in that section that leading into the final climb where he could be exposed. Tim Rex turning himself inside out. We're looking at the power, the stats of Wout van Aert behind at 550 watts. Matteo Jorgensen there. But look at this. Oh, Vermaak also starting to struggle as well.
Yeah. Quintana just being found out at the moment. Kevin Vermaak is there. Goodness me, I'm looking at the front. There was a bit of verbiage going on between Ciccone and I believe Roglic. He was saying, come on, should we do something? Not quite sure, but the answer was, well, silence. Let's wait and see. This is Richard Carapaz, who was so busy a little bit earlier on. Obviously, that bolt has been shot. Kevin Geniet's back there as well. And still no chance of actually making some inroads. And Peo Bilbao's desire just diluted by the moves of those around him, at least just for the time being. Not much difference at all. 8 seconds only. That change of pace by T-Rex. I'm afraid it just monstered the gap.
Yeah, just to shut it right down. They're going to take him, I think, before they get to the top of this small rise, or at least just over the top. This is some turn by Rex. It really, really is. He's thinned this group out. He has meant that our race leader, who just takes a bead on there and the right-hand side, is attentive as ever, but is one of the only riders on the GC without a teammate. Roglic is there for Pellizzari. Jorgensen has got Wout van Aert and Rex, and a couple of the other riders, including Ben Healy, have got riders with them. 4 solitary seconds now for Mühlberger and Braz Alfonso. This race is going to come back all together, and Isaac Del Toro, with 22 Ks to go, finds himself isolated on this descent. This is going to be fascinating. It's not terminal at all for the Mexican. He's supremely confident, but it does mean it's just a little bit more nervous, and there's this exposed terrain where he could come under attack.
Pellizzari in the white jersey is being shadowed at the moment by Ciccone, with Ben Healy on his wheel. So that trio as well, all expectant that one or other of them is going to make a move, and they want to neutralise each other, indeed, when that move happens. Oh, goodness me. This is absolutely on it. Look at this train. It's an express train right now.
There's only about 25 riders left. It's a good ride by Mark Donovan there at the back, the British rider for Pinarello, Q36.5. But there we go. 2 riders, in fact. Jai Hindley of Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe is still in there for Giulio Pellizzari, along with Primoz Roglic. And so keeping himself on the wheel of his closest, well, one of his closest rivals, Matteo Jorgensen, is the man in the blue jersey. He won't be worried. He'll get advice from the team car. 6 seconds is the gap. And it's now Wout van Aert who takes things up. He knows that they want to make sure that Christensen and Vermaak do not get back in this group.
6 seconds. It's a little bit less than that by the looks of things. In fact, the clock just adjusting for you right now, down to 4. 20, just under 22 kilometres to go of the day. Who's got it to take? You know, that drive over the flattish terrain that you were talking about, that's going to be a crucial part today.
That's where he's exposed. That's where it's not so much power to weight or strength. It's like how many moves can he shut down? And there's so many riders that I think will be completely aware. And that's what Visma Leasebike have done here. They've let Christian do that turn. hit him hard on a hard climb. He's gone out the back. We've seen how much work Kevin Vermaerke's already done. He's already crashed, and now that leaves our race leader isolated. So the terrain before the climb is now relatively benign and easy, but because it's so easy, it's easier to attack and snap the elastic, and they'll all look to Isaac Del Toro to try and chase. So let's see what happens. So collectively, it's up to the other teams now to seize the opportunity now that's been created by Visma Lease bike. Really interesting part of the race. But Del Toro, he's riding well. He's there in 4th place. He'll get the advice from the team car. And what we do know, though, if he keeps all the gaps together before the final climb, I still don't think there's anybody that can beat him. But the bit beforehand, there's a possibility they could prize open a few gaps.
Yeah, they're going to try and make him spend some resources before he actually gets to the final test. So everyone's going to be leaning upon him, and there'll be a whole rolling sequence of attacks that go through. Let's see, indeed, if he sustains it, because at the moment he's just hiding out of the wind that's being kicked up at the moment by Visma Lease bike. They are on the front, but being marshalled and marked out by Del Toro himself in the blue leader's jersey. His friend is carrying the white jersey, Giulio Pellizzari, albeit for Rebel Bora Hansgrohe. He has teammates around him as well, and some of those will be asking the questions. And the elastic may snap with any of those attacks as they come. This is a rather sterling descent right now. I think Peo Bilbao would have to be off the front if he was going to have a chance. I think his opportunity has perhaps ebbed ever so slightly. We shall wait and see how it pans out, shall we? But still got Mulberger and Bras Alfonso up front, but yeah, it's ebbing and flowing, and I'm afraid the tide is against them.
Yeah, they've put on a good show, haven't they?
They have.
They've really ridden well, but there's not much they can do. This is there's a sense of the inevitability now. This group will catch the 2 leaders in front. 76 k's an hour on this descent. There's a few of the other names that are in this group for you, Carlton. We've seen Peo Bilbao. Tymon Arensman is there for Ineos. Javier Romo. Mark Donovan is in the PQ 36.5 Pinarello. Giulio Pellizzari, we know he's there. The duo from the Aussie squad, Jaco Alula, Alessandro Covi and Alan Hatherley, confirming 3 from Visma Lease bike. Van Aert, Jorgensen and Tim Rex. Del Toro's there, and then we've got 2 Johannessens, Anders and Tobias for Uno X. There's also Giulia Ciccone in the mix as well with Primoz Roglic.
Loud and ploughed. That's the fields. Somebody's going to make a furrow all the way up to the finish line. Michael Storer very much in the vanguard here, but whether or not he's going to be able to offer up something at the back at the last, we will see. But 5 seconds, 18.7 kilometres from home, and still they're grinding into this, bless them. This is a nasty little peaklet that they have to deal with. They go into another vale, and then they climb again before the last of our descents that will take us to that flat land, which ultimately could be the killing zone for plenty of ambition. Let's wait and see who's got the will and the ability to follow on. Sorry for the phone interference. We understand it is an effects mic downstairs, possibly on one of the motorcycles. Need to tell them to put it onto airplane mode. There we go.
A couple of Wout fans there at the side of the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Belgian flags flapping in the breeze there. Donovan locked in position at the back of this group. Yeah. There's an elite group of riders. Another couple of names in there as well. But yeah, we've got Giulio Ciccone. Magnus Sheffield is there. Brandon Rivera, the teammate of Tymon Arensman. So a couple more Ineos Grenadiers in the mix. Still 6 seconds.
Yep. Storer is indeed ensconced in that group after his team did so much work at the beginning of the day. I'd love to see some kind of payback. We'll see how lively it gets when it gets to the business end. But right now, here we come. Are we going to get some rolling attacks even at this point, just to get into the little bowl, pop out the top, and then try and skittle away before we get to the flatlands on that descent? It's all kicking off.
Indeed, but I tell you what I wouldn't want to do is attack while Wout van Aert's on the front. It'd be slightly embarrassing. It'd be brought back within seconds, but no, maybe just wait a little bit. But Wout van Aert doing a great job. It's a cracking bit of riding by Tim Rex as well to really make the difference and ultimately isolate Isaac Del Toro. 17.6 k's to go. Duo out in front. They've definitely got less than 8 seconds there as this little plateau just continues to roll. As Peo Bilbao moves just round the outside. Is he just coiled and ready for some sort of offensive on his favoured ground, the descent?
Let's see, shall we? I love watching him ride. He's. I was actually just looking at the back there, whether he actually changed his lid. But I don't think so. He may have done it just to fox us. As we keep picking him out. No, he's still got the same styly. So have these guys at a margin of 7 seconds now. So it's calm before the storm. But who's going to kick on? Bilbao wants a clean look at it. And, well, they're starting to spread across the road. And look at the amount of vision that's being taken. Vendrami, Covey and Hatherley, all three of them here for Jaco Olula. They've ridden very anonymously, but brilliantly, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got numbers at the front, giving them an opportunity. Hatherley will be the one that's trying to vault inside the top 10. And also, remember, there's a few riders that are a little bit further back. Now, Del Toro's got to really think about how he does this. We talked about his team wanting to set him up for a stage win, but what he can also, he doesn't need to follow everything. If the likes of Hatherley go, he's got a 1.5-minute buffer. So he's got to choose who he decides to follow when, and indeed if, the attacks start to come. So it is going to be very interesting. He is exposed. It's a little bit of a surprise, I must admit, but there is a situation on the GC.
Here we go.
23 seconds
Here's
buffer.
Your quiet move coming up as Bilbao gets himself into position. He knows there's a little crusty knoll here to go up and over the top of, and indeed if he can master this, which will be well within his resources, he can then really go on full chat attack. He's going to need somebody with him, I reckon, to carry over that flattish area. He's got a teammate with him. Let's see if they play the game.
Oh, this is important. Look at this. It looks like it's Christian getting back in contact. So this is massively important, especially on this little flat bit of terrain. It could make all the difference should he come on to attack. So a real battling performance there from Jan Christian. After turning himself nearly inside out on the climb, he's about to latch back on.
Are you ready for this? A bit of drama from Pello Bilbao. Hands in the air like you just don't care. Think about coming to the crest of a roller coaster, and then it is all the way down this descent. Now he's got to bridge over to these guys and possibly spear straight by them. If indeed the lines that he describes on this descent can't be followed by those behind, there's always a danger that Pello Bilbao would just simply lead others into the fray. Mühlberger and Brass are the ones out front. They've got a 9-second margin, but what's happening behind? Well, it's slow enough for this man to get back in, and he's latched on. Super brave work.
Yeah, they definitely eased up. It's just, I mean, once Rex had been done, I don't think Jorgensen wants to lose Wout van Aert too early, so they definitely backed off. They've got that little, the two-man break still in front, and that's opened the door. Doesn't take anything away from the ride of Jan Christian, but they definitely knocked off that pace on that little rise just a few moments ago, and Christian is back on, and that's good news for Isaac Del Toro.
Strung out they are at the moment, and there's Pello Bilbao waiting to just go into action stations. Now, even on a not terribly technical descent, Pello Bilbao knows exactly when to put the power on, and in fact when to get back on the power out of curves, which is brilliant to watch. We've got this duo up front, but really I'm just waiting to see the master do his thing on the descent here. They're looking back knowing that they're coming, but they have a margin of 12 seconds, so it's not a real urgent chase at the moment.
Not at all. It's a cautious, not cautious, but conservative bit of descending by Wout van Aert. Again, this is the sort of descent, should I say, that you can actually pedal on, and Wout van Aert needs to be there for Matteo Jorgensen, so he's happy to set a decent tempo, and also he knows there's no panic. With the greatest of respect to our two leaders, Mühlberger and Braz Alfonso, that lead they've got now is not going to be enough when it comes to the finale. They're going to be tired, and there's also a lot of firepower still behind.
Nice little bunny hop there a moment ago from Michael Storage, just to avoid a dropped bidon. Wasn't going to get troubled by that, but just to make sure, he dialed in a bit of insurance. Let's have a look at there's your nose clean. Now watch the bouncing bidon, and yeah.
Oh yeah, nice little bit of BMX style there from Michael Storer.
Yeah, still here. Team did a lot of work early on. Let's see if he's got something left in the tank for the final incline. There's going to be a lot that hope to impose themselves at that point, but will it just be podium places behind Del Toro when he's minded to accelerate? We will only know when we've seen what sort of attacks rain down upon him on the flattish section, which it looks like we're going to arrive at on with a group here 16 seconds in arrears of Mühlberger and Braz Alfonso.
Yeah, right now this is of this particular moment, it's all calm for Isaac Del Toro. He's basically, the kilometres are ticking by. We're getting to that flat section soon. He does have Jan Christian back in the mix, who will be able to offer up some sort of defence. He'll be able to shut a few gaps down when the attacks, and if the attacks start to come. But the way that the man on the front, Wout van Aert, is riding at the moment, he's not bothered about the two riders out in front. He's riding hard, but he's got a lot left in the tank. And what you don't need to do on a descent like this is push too hard and waste any energy, or indeed take any risk. But as soon as he wants to open it up, he will do, and put a lot of people potentially under pressure. So I'm quite interested the way that Wout van Aert is going to ride this next particular section. Will he wind them in and take it so Jorgensen can attack? We shall see. But right now, it's under control, I think it's fair to say.
You know, they've pushed out a gap that descended to 4 seconds to almost 20 here. They're doing a fantastic job.
They are.
I think that is a description, that gap, of how unintense this descent is. There'll be a few that are hanging on that really don't like this sort of thing, but those who are very good at descending have now really had a very tough day, coming off the back of a sequence of tough days. It's very difficult to make a margin, quite clearly, when you've got this amount of talent all locked together.
Exactly, and there's no point in giving people too much of a free ride anyway. So Wout van Aert is descending carefully. You know, he's had injuries and crashes over the last couple of years. He doesn't want to take any risks. He doesn't need to, and he's keeping a fair bit under the hood, and is trying to set things up as best he can for Matteo Jorgensen. Now, Jorgensen, I think it's going to be a very difficult ask to overhaul the leader, Isaac Del Toro, but we saw a little bit of weakness yesterday from Pellittari, and I say that modestly. You know, but he did ship time to Jorgensen, so I think there's a confidence that at the very least Jorgensen can vault one place on the general classification, and is using but he needs Van Aert for as long as possible. That's why Van Aert is just feathering his effort here. He's super confident, he's in control and taking no risks.
It is strung out, however, isn't it? So it's probably blanketing about 80-90 metres as it stands in a very there's only 21 riders here, but evenly matched, I think, and evenly spaced throughout. The trio just extending themselves ever so slightly. There is indeed Del Toro with a teammate, which he'll be very pleased to have on board. There's Ciccone as well. Just seen Roglic. He'll be doing a job, of course, for Pellittari in the white jersey. Aronsman's also here for Ineos Grenadiers. He's got Magnus Sheffield along for the ride, and more than that, Magnus is magnificent. He's only out in 27.
Yep.
There could be some inroads here today.
Indeed, comfortably inside the top 10 is the young American, but it is so tightly packed at the top. A lot of riders are also thinking not so much about Del Toro and eyeing the podium, about protecting or even moving up inside the top 10 as well. So it's so tightly packed, and that climb is hard enough to create some serious gaps to change around the places from just beyond the podium.
Alfonso just on the blower there. I'm not quite sure what the issue is as they start to stretch their legs on this flat section. This is that zone of hurt. Teammates from Visma Lease Bike coming so close together, almost able to whisper instructions to each other here. I'm not quite sure what's passed between them, but Van Aert and Matteo Jorgensen has been Mr. Power. Whose wheel do you follow on a day like today? If you can't follow, and you acknowledge that you can't follow Del Toro, somebody else is going to have to act as your foil. But it's nearly half a minute now with 10 to go.
Yeah, they've built up that lead again, and they're working really well. They've been determined. They have not missed a beat. They've benefited from a little bit of tactical riding behind. Visma Lease Bike took it up and then just backed off a little bit, but now Jan Christian heads to the front in that familiar style, tongue out, giving it absolutely everything to try and bring things back together, and at the same time deter any attacks over the top. And with each pedal rev, we're getting closer and closer to that climb, and the opportunities to put Isaac Del Toro under pressure on more equal footing terrain is diminishing because of what this man is doing on the front. So fair play to Jan Christian. That's a superb, determined bit of riding back on the front, trying to control things for his teammate, because as soon as we hit the steep slopes, I think Isaac Del Toro is untouchable.
Everyone very cagey there. Did you see? Pello Bilbao had a look back, and then all of a sudden that was matched by Pellittari. There was a Mexican wave of look-backs going down there. Everyone's nervous, but it could, of course, be a Mexican that waves goodbye to everybody in a few moments' time, because Isaac Del Toro is pent up and ready for action. in. Let's see if anyone can stop him or how close they can get to him is often the question we ask. Somebody is going to have to grasp the nettle here, but at this pace that's being invoked yet again, it's a hard thing to muster.
Yeah, look at him on the radio. He's just telling him how much more have I got to give. 9Ks to go, 15 seconds. So he's sliced in about 2Ks, 15 seconds off the lead of Mühlberger and Braz Alfonso. This is what a good teammate looks like. Off the back on again, and giving it absolutely everything. I think he'll try as hard as he can to ride as long as he can before basically we're into terrain where Isaac Del Toro, despite the amount of riders behind him, literally lined up behind him, could not do anything. So super riding by Jan Christian here, and there he is, still looking impassive, the man in the Maglia Azzurro. And Christian's riding a good pace. They're not bunched up behind, they're in one long line. 11 seconds now the gap. They can see them dead ahead.
Jorgensen having his ear chewed off there by Primož Roglic, who wanted a rare old chat as to how this one is going to be dealt with. Let's wait and see what our leader here, Isaac Del Toro, can actually do for himself. Still looks very, very much like a predator, doesn't he? Just blows out rather than taking big gulps of air. He's an absolute phenomena. 11 seconds now, still our breakaway holds with Braz Alfonso. I think he was on the blower just asking what indeed the gap was, and when he was told, possibly had more dreams than he's got right now. Caminero coming up, 5.3 kilometres of climbing to the KOM, and then of course we skittle on, don't we, beyond that KOM point. That'll be to the foot of it, but we skip away and onwards and upwards to the finish line itself as they look behind, and now they know that the goose they've had in the oven is finally cooked.
Yeah, they did a cracking job. There's nothing they could do about the desire, the drive to bring things back together, and also the sacrifice being made by this man. He looks across. He's pretty, I'd say he's like 99% confident that this is now in the bag in terms of the overall win. We still don't know who's going to win this stage, but I tell you what, Carlton, we are running out of terrain where Isaac Del Toro can come under pressure. He's looked so good over the last couple of days. He can pretty much do what he wants when the road started to rise. But I tell you what, if Jan Christian hadn't been here, that section leading into this one could have been really dangerous. So UAE XRG have done a fantastic job, Christian in particular, of defending and hopefully for that team setting up Del Toro to cap off this race with the stage win he so richly wants.
Wout van Aert looks like he is about to do a lead out for Mattia Jorgensen here and offer him up a slingshot. I think Jorgensen is possibly a very good bet to actually impose the power that we've seen him develop.
Oh, definitely.
He's been very fast finishing in most terrain, and he's being teed up absolutely beautifully here by Wout van Aert himself. Van Aert just sitting on the back of Giulio Pellizzari for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, who indeed wears the white jersey, but it's the blue jersey that all eyes are upon with 7.3 kilometres to go, and any hurt zone that they could actually just formulate here, I'm afraid, is ebbing. Who's going to flow? And it looks like it might well be Del Toro himself today. Everyone's aware of that now. There's a queue behind to try and follow him up the mountain.
Well, we've still got a fair bit of this drag to go. You wonder if Jan Christian's going to stay on the front. He is. Had he eased, that would have been the opportunity on this relatively flattish bit of road for somebody to go over the top. But Mühlberger and Braz Alfonso back in the fold. But just look at the effort, the continued effort of Jan Christian. A little look there, little conversation between the Mexican and the Spaniard there, Pel Bilbao, and our race leader. Tucks into the slipstream. Let's have a little look at that little bit of an exchange.
Watch the smile, and he says something here, and they almost burst out laughing. Look. How lovely is that?
It's almost like, sorry mate, good effort, but hey, he knows Mühlberger's been around. He knows the score, he knows that Jan Christian's got a job to do, and boy, is he doing an absolutely corking job. 3.5 Ks to go, but look, he's on the wheel. It is Isaac Del Toro. I think Christian's going to take him all the way to the foot of the steep part, and then it's like, up to you, sir.
You know what? Just that little momentary relaxation moment where he offered up, so that helped him apart from anything else. It sort of spurred him on, just the hilarity of the moment. The tongue comes out, Tommy Voeckler styly right now, and look, tucked in here in sprint form, it seems, is Del Toro himself, keeping himself out of the wind because he knows he's got a job to deliver, and it's coming up right now. The climb begins in 3 kilometres time, and then he can, I think, just get himself, will he float his way to a stage win, which he'd love to add to this.
Yeah, he's just pinning them on the right-hand side of the road as well. There's not much wind today, but look at what he's doing. He's not allowing anybody any extra shelter, pinning them on the right-hand side. So the only rider that can really have any overlap is Isaac Del Toro, his teammate. So it's strong riding and smart riding as well. 2.7 Ks to go to the top of the climb. Covey now moving up the outside. It looks like Covey's going to take things up with Hatherley on his wheel.
Yeah, and tucked in just behind them is, of course, the erstwhile Pale Bilbao, who still wants a piece out of the day. The Johannessens come and join the party. You see that Roglic just on the drift ever so slightly. He's handing over duties, essentially, Roglic, by the looks of things. Jai Hindley's been brilliant today, working for Pellizzari, of course, and still very much in the fray. Chapeau, you've got to say to Del Toro's teammate there, what a job that was.
I mean, okay, it didn't come on. If it hadn't been for him, that could have been a very complicated 5Ks, Carlton. Honestly, that could have been very, very complicated indeed. In fact, it's Van Drame in second wheel, Alessandro Covey, a teammate, of course, of Isaac Del Toro last year, and now in the purple of Jayco. He's got... again, he's going for the different shoes. He normally wears black and white shoes. He's gone for a purple and white one there, has Covey. Keeping that thing going. 5Ks to go.
Oh, it's all now. And what have you got as they make the transition? We're just coming to the climb itself in 1,900 metres, little less than that right now. And they're all still lined up. And Ben Healy, you know, we haven't mentioned him for a while, but he's absolutely here, centre of the screen, as you can see in the pink. And everybody else just starting to work yet again. Being guided in position is Giulio Pellizzari, coming high, wide and handsome around the outside, and Michael Storer instinctively tags onto that little quartet, or indeed forms part of that quartet. Wants to drive up, does the Aussie, doing a fantastic job. The Johannessens in attendance as well, just as you can see on that front line. And also coming up here is Jorgensen with Wout van Aert, instinctive rider. He is, and is he going to be Wout van Aert himself? That has a dig, and he goes. Now catch me if you can. He's not a danger for the overall, is Wout van Aert. 16 minutes and 5 down, but he's having a dig here, and it's for anyone else to follow him if you want a stage win, for goodness sake. He's not a threat to the overall, but he may well be to the ambitions of those who would take a stage win. Is it going to be his? Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. I mean, took a lot of momentum, went up the outside, carried that momentum, and it's Covey looked around and thought, what am I going to do? Well, I'm still on the front, but chasing this man is always going to be very, very difficult. But on the steep section, Van Aert might struggle a little bit, so why not buy yourself a little bit of time beforehand? Look at the power here of Van Aert, just around 500 watts. He's opened up a gap. Who's going to do the chasing? This was a consummate, smart, strong move, using the road, using that momentum, skirts up the inside, absolutely brilliant. Bang, and he's clear.
Nobody else prepared to change the rhythm that they'd set themselves at that point to chase him down, and it only takes a few momentary seconds of a lapse of concentration. Bilbao saying, come on, is anybody else interested in doing this job? And the answer is no. From everybody else. Buitrago just comes along for the ride, but helping himself to the party at the top table. All the cake is his at the moment. Could it be crumbs for anybody else? Storer gets up towards the front line. Ciccone is now thinking about bursting for the horizon. They can't just think about it, they've got to do it, and if they're going to do it, they've got to do it now.
Yeah, it's Andrea Baggioli, the teammate of Giulio Ciccone, is now on the front. Isaac Del Toro doesn't need to chase him, doesn't need to get exposed at all, but moving around the outside as well.
Arensman.
It's Tymon Arensman looking after Magnus Sheffield. Sheffield, the best place of the Ineos Grenadiers. The road will really start to kick up at the moment.
Healy making that move as well, and just gets almost boxed out. A little bit of dive bombing going in there. It is a technical introduction to this, but the climb is now, and the man who's bought himself a little bit of time is Wout van Aert himself, and away he goes. Start of the climb now. Can he bring this home? We know he can tempo at moments like this, but has he got enough room out there to bring it home? 2.9 on the sort of gradients that we're dealing with here is a big ask. Here we go. Others want to join the fray, and Roglic himself wants to have a part of this.
Yeah, Jai Hindley moves through to the front now, shoulder to shoulder with Jai Hindley. Jai Hindley, Roglic is there, but this is the super steep slopes. He looks around as well, Van Aert, and he sees there's a couple of riders. Bilbao accelerating
Healy.
now.
Oh, they're all at it. Everybody wants a piece of the cake here. We don't want crumbs, we want glory. And there goes Healy after Peo Bilbao. He doesn't have to do it on the descent, he seems. Plonks back down in his saddle, and Healy then comes through onto the centre of the road. Healy, oh my goodness, on the back of what Valgren did, and nobody's minded to chase him, and here he goes. Healy is at 1:24, don't forget, down overall, but what a brave rider he is. Terrier-like he goes for it. Response from Wout van Aert himself trying to stay with him, but when Healy's in this kind of mode, it's like a terrier with a plastic bone here. He just can't stop shaking it, and look at it, what it's doing to everybody else. It's amazing.
It is brilliant. So 14% as Roglic sets the tempo at the front. Isaac Del Toro still impassive. Storer there as well, but it's the Irishman who's moving clear. He knows how to set a tempo. He knows how to suffer. He knows how to try and smooth this climb out in terms of effort. He also looks around, wipes his nose. 2.6 k's to go. He's got about 50 metres. Roglic leads the chase.
Anybody else is Healy's ask when he looks back here, and it looks like he's got the own party here. He's kicked the door in, invited himself in, slammed it behind him and said nobody else is coming to this one. Let's see if they manage to indeed invoke some kind of chase here. Nobody's got anything left, and I tell you something, Isaac Del Toro is not going to chuck this one away. He might start to drive into the gap, but at the moment it's a modest advantage. But you know, it's up to about 9-10 seconds right now as we stand. And finally Giulio Pellizzari has to do it. He's the local man, don't forget. He knows every inch, every millimetre of this road. He lived and grew up here, let's remind you, and the man who's going to chase after him is Isaac Del Toro himself. This is fantastic. Jorgensen stays with Michael Storer on these kind of ramps. Is very handy. He's still in the vanguard here, but it's Del Toro that bridges over to Pellizzari, and all this is going to do, because he won't give him a turn, is help Ben Healy, who's up the road at the moment. Who else has got what it takes to deny Ben Healy on a day like this? And there's only 2.2 kilometres to go.
Yeah, and a kilometre of that, nearly, well, a kilometre and a half of that on the flat as well. He's gone through that. He's slingshots into the steep section, and then it's a little bit flat. It's like 2.5%. It's the sort of terrain where Healy could really make a difference, but Del Toro now finds himself on the front. In fact, he's happy to sit on the front because he's determining what's going on.
Digs in, he goes, fantastic, and who can follow me, he says. Tobias Johannesson is the man that bridges over. Goodness me, it's a series of folding attacks right now, but the man who's put the big crease in the day is indeed Ben Healy. What a fantastic ride by him. Storer looks over, says, look, I'm not going to do this on my own, and then says, you know what, actually I think I am. Away he goes, the magnificent Storer kicks on. This is fantastic, and now the chase is on to try and deny him. Can he possibly bridge over to Ben Healy? And if he does, who's he going to drag with him? That's the question. Is he going to start weaving across the road? Storer does so. He just goes to the centre line, heads off to the right. 1,800 metres. Healy's still out front.
Yeah, Healy said good, smart riding there. Two big punches from Storer, but what he doesn't want to do is drag anybody with him. He's no fool. Tactically smart, super strong. He's got time to go again. Pellizzari, second big punch for the man in the white jersey.
Lights up the afterburners, burns white hot, and it's the blue jersey, of course it is, that sets off after him. Tobias Johannesson's just on the back wheel here of Matteo Jorgensen as well. Storer just gets a little bit of respite. When's Ciccone going to have a dig here? He's in wheel 4 of that little quartet being led at the moment by none other than Del Toro, with Healy still out front by a modest margin, and it's just in the gap is Giulio Pellizzari, we remind you, still not been wound in by the pack. 1,400 metres to go. What a finale.
This is interesting stuff. It is. Johannesson now moves through to the front, the brother of Tobias Johannesson, trying to shut the gap. Pellizzari in between. We've still got 1.3 k's to go, but so much could change. The slopes are so steep. Healy still leads, but now Johannesson leads. Johannesson, Roglic is next, and then we've got Ciccone, still Pellizzari wheeling in this man out in front, out of the saddle. This is all possibly going to come back together as we head through the archway.
Do you know, if anybody was going to win this with a nod from Isaac Del Toro, it would be Pellizzari, but remind you, there's only 23 seconds between them. He can't afford any kind of margin. With the bonuses that are available on the line, Pellizzari could make a steal, and indeed on the home roads for him, he's going to be hyper motivated. He knows there's family waiting at the line for him as well, and Pellizzari is now going to move past Ben Healy. Is he starting to think about a 10-second bonus to eat into that 23 deficit to the blue jersey? And what on earth is Del Toro going to do about it? Here we go, kilometre to go. Flamme Rouge, still plenty of climbing to be done here.
Well, this is absolutely fantastic. Perizzari glances behind, he latches onto the wheel from EF Education, Ismo Seeley, and now Tobias Johannesson looks around, leaving it up to Roglic. They're easing up, and the Pellizzari has the bit between his teeth. 7 seconds now with a 10-second time bonus up for grabs. Ciccone goes from behind as well.
He has to. There's no other opportunity, and he does so. He's onto the back wheel of Tobias Johannesson. Pellizzari, though, is in the lead. He's rounded Healy, and of course it's only his name that's being screened here. There's nothing coming from Del Toro at the moment. Is it going to be now? Is Pellizzari going to tie up here? I don't think so. He knows the way home. In fact, he's probably going to go past his own front door of old. Let's see if he gets there. My goodness, look at this, and there's no response from Del Toro, is there? Yes, finally he picks it up, but it's Pellizzari's name that's written all over the road here. Giulio Pellizzari, Amore, it's all there for him right now. Is he going to get there? 700 metres from glory, and here comes Del Toro finally. He starts to pick up. He's just on the back wheel of Healy. Other challenges starting to blow up right now, and it's Pellizzari that has he got this in the bag? The answer is no, not for the time being, because filling the sack right now, possibly to the brim, is indeed this man here in the blue. He comes up, and it is going to be the blues that's playing tonight for Pellizzari by the look of things, because Del Toro comes up onto his back wheel, gets onto his shoulder in a few moments' time. You'll be sure about that. But who they're going to have to deal with? Ciccone's here. Oh, and so is indeed Jorgensen. Jorgensen goes as Pellizzari goes backwards here. It's Del Toro on the top. He's got Jorgensen to deal with. Jorgensen can still make the steal here. He's got the power. He's looked like the most powerful, and he drifts to the other side of the road. That's a wheel to follow for Del Toro. Pellizzari tries to stay with it. He might even get tagged by Ciccone if he fades here. This is magnificent. Super work by Jorgensen. He's on the nose right now, but it's a punch on the nose for absolutely everybody, it seems, in terms of the title by Isaac Del Toro. Has he got anything left in the last 400 metres? A little bit of respite right now, and then they're going to try and bring this one home. It's this diamond duo. They've been locked together so much throughout this race. 300 metres into the sunshine they suddenly come, and now the unique part of the course that with this circuit, he's looking and accepting the praise here, Giulio Pellizzari, but he knows it's going to be, I think, second place for him by the looks of things in terms of the overall. But Jorgensen himself, don't forget, is very well placed, and if he gets 10 bonus seconds, he was 34 seconds behind. He may well take a little bit of a move when it comes to the podium himself, but it all seems that Isaac Del Toro is just waiting to bounce, and that time is now. Here he is, fresh roads, fresh faces, and indeed a fresh grin from this man. Grimaces for everybody else, because Isaac Del Toro, when he's in this kind of mood, is the bull, and everybody else, I'm afraid, they may be matadors, but they're going to furl their capes and swords, because he's going to get himself all the way home 25 metres before he not only claims the title, but the stage win he's been looking for. That was absolutely magnificent in every way.
Tobias Johannesson there in second, fourth place for Pellizzari, third for the man Jorgensen. Nobody could match just the pace, the patience, the strength, the confidence of Isaac Del Toro. They're at 6s and 7s on this sort of terrain. Del Toro, imperious. He rode patiently. He let Perizzari get that little bit of a lead and then paced himself, never panicked, never accelerated when he didn't need to. He paced himself perfectly, and look, it looks like a stroll in the park for this man. He takes the stage win, he increases his lead, and he stamped his seal of approval on the general classification, extending it in the process. What a performance by him. Also, what a performance in particular by Jan Christian and the rest of his squad.
Absolutely remarkable. A man absolutely at the top of his game, and a sense of determination and poise about him as well. We spoke about the disappointments of last year's Giro. He's parking it up constantly. He knows how to ride a bike. The experience that he's garnered, the pain of disappointment that he's experienced, even as a young man, he is using to his advantage. There was no panic there at all, man.
No, he rode exceptionally well. There was several little attacks that didn't need to follow Pellizzari because he knew what he could do at the back end, and Pellizzari ultimately capitulated. Here we go, here's the moment. Gapped Jorgensen. Jorgensen had nothing, couldn't respond to that acceleration from this man. Seated, crosses the line in blue, has taken the stage win he so dearly wanted and extends his lead in the general classification. And we'll get subject to confirmation it should be that Jorgensen might have vaulted into second place on the GC. He was nabbed on the line by Johannesson, who took the time bonus, but 10 for this man. Nearly loses his balance as he crosses the line, but another win. And just look at that. So strong, so calm.
That was just magnificent. Get some thanks and congratulations. Giulio Pellizzari there, offered up. Great friends off the bike. They ride for different teams, but, you know, just an appreciation of what they have offered us in this race. It's been magnificent. Tobias Johannesson it was that nicked it, as Matt was just pointing out there, from Matteo Jorgensen for second and third. Pellizzari, Ciccone, a strong ride by him to finish in front of Santiago Buitrago, who was the chosen son ultimately for Bahrain victorious. Confirmation of the results. Del Toro takes it ahead of Tobias Johannesson. Jorgensen, good third place with bonus seconds to boot, but 3 seconds down. Pellizzari, Ciccone, Buitrago, Ben Healy, Magnus Sheffield, Primoz Roglic, Andrea Vendrami. When Del Toro looks at this roster in this magnificent race, he can be rightly proud about how he has dominated this 61st edition of Tirreno.
Let's hear from him, hopefully.
He'll still be breathless, but I imagine less than anybody else.
Isaac, you said yesterday you didn't want to win only Tirreno Adriatico, but the stage as well. How did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, we've been quite close to this, but today was very nice, honestly. I'm super happy, but also I have mixed feelings. It's just pretty strange, but this is just for the guys and the staff, really. They did all the job, and I'm super proud to be now here.
When Giulio Pellizzari attacked, did you remain cold? Were you sure to bring it back?
Not sure, because it was super hard, but at the end, I know it's super strong, so I just want to keep in mind, like, we cannot give like we cannot see how he goes far away, so I just tried to put him back, but it was super tough.
He's your friend as well. What is it like to win in his hometown?
It's like mixed feelings, but yeah, I'm happy and proud for all the job that the guys did today.
And now it looks like Tirreno Adriatico is won. There's one more stage for sprinters.
In the last years was like this that I've been here, so let's see how it is, but yeah, I want to be attentive and yeah, secure the job.
Enhorabuena.
Thank you.
He's quite emotional there, and it's clearly because of the friendship between him and Pellizzari. He feels a bit of guilt. It's clear from that, mixed feelings, and you could deduce from that it's bittersweet for him. I think he almost didn't want to beat a man that he's clearly very close to in his hometown. Look at that, 1 second.
The bonus seconds at the line counted for Jorgensen. He was just pipped at a very important moment. Yes, Tobias Johannesson moves up into 4th place. Everyone has to fight their own game. But Del Toro, it looks secure right now. But Pellizzari stays in 2nd place, but by the most modest of margins, Matt.
Yeah, he tried everything as well. There was that, obviously he's got the home support there as well, which have given him another few percentage points. But he never was shut down immediately, and because he had no teammates left at that point, there we go. He knows this is just, all of his fans are there. This is his home. This is chez lui, you know. This is his area. But I was surprised how, and then just to attack his friend as well there. It's bike racing. You've got to do it. He's not going to give away a race to his friend, but he also is going to hurt him a little bit. And it just shows that real human side as well. So cold on the bike, you have to be, but acknowledging that in the post-race interview is pretty special. It gives us another insight into how this young man ticks, and it's actually quite lovely to see. He showed no quarter on the bike, but rode with real patience, real confidence, and this is the moment. Out of the saddle, accelerates away. Jorgensen at the moment is on his limit. Himself gets out of the saddle but cannot respond to that stinging acceleration, that final acceleration that ultimately took him clear to victory.
Jorgensen would have been in 2nd place had he not been pipped at the line, as you pointed out, Matt, by Tobias Johannesson, who himself moves up to 4th place. But it means that Jorgensen He would have been in second had he got the bonuses he would have looked for, 2 more bonus seconds.
I think tomorrow we are going to see some, I'm trying to look at when the sprint is. There's a sprint on the finishing circuit. We'll see. There'll be the sprint teams keeping things together, but there is that time bonus, and we've seen riders sprinting for those time bonuses. So I think we'll see Jorgensen maybe sprinting it out with Pellizzari, and Pellizzari might want some teammates to try and take that final second away. So 1 second in it for that final spot on the podium. We shall see.
10, 6 and 4 at the line, 10 seconds, of course, going to Isaac Del Toro. Tobias Johannesson just rounded his man to take 6 seconds. Matthew Jorgensen did get 4 seconds, but it would have been 2 more seconds he would have snaffled had it finished the other way round for that second place behind Del Toro. And what it means is that Jorgensen would have vaulted into second place, but Pellizzari held on by just 1 solitary second. Goodness me, you've got to love your cycling, haven't you?
Yeah, he'll be pretty glad of that, especially in his hometown. The last thing he'd wanted to do is actually lose a place on the GC. He hasn't, and he's put on a show as well. Led up the climb into this beautiful, beautiful city. It wasn't to be in the end. Isaac Del Toro just that little bit stronger. I think it's fair to say on the climbs, is far and away the most superior rider here. That's just it. But rode with real maturity and a level head. But again, a big nod to Jan Christian for pulling it back together, because that could have been a little bit nervous on that run into the line. But I think, given the gradients, if Del Toro could have shut a 20-second gap on his own if he'd have gone at the bottom. But measured efforts, let others do the attacking, and in the end, managed to shut things down. 1 more day to go for him, but he's got that all-important stage win to add to the comfortable lead that he'll take into the final stage.
Well, I didn't know that this place was built by Cesare Borgia, part of the Borgia family, which essentially dominated Italy for so long. So obviously spent his money wisely in these parts.
Did, the Borgias, yeah.
The Duomo di Camerino. Fantastic. What a great day that we have had here. Trust you've enjoyed it. There's still another day to go. And I've got to say, it kind of feels like a rest day is beckoning, because we've done Strade Bianche, of course, and then many of the riders will have carried themselves through until this point. So I know it's 7 days of racing, the last of which is tomorrow. But some of them had Strade Bianche in their legs, and of course the San Remo still to come. Here is your stage results confirmation yet again. It was very close out there, and some very handy riders that were denied.
Yeah, good ride by Ben Healy as well to still hold on to that 7th place on the stage after that well-timed move. He hasn't quite got the punch we know as he's at Del Toro and even Pellizzari on the steep sections, but went long and still managed to come round and hold on to a pretty decent place. And they had to have a look back at what actually unfolded today, because there's quite a lot to talk about. Should we just let the pictures breathe?
Oh, I think so. An amazing day in a beautiful place. Here is how we stack up overall. Isaac Del Toro is our leader by what will surely be an unassailable lead of 42 seconds with one stage to go, and for the sprinters, of course. Pellizzari will want to hold on to his margin ahead of Matteo Jorgensen. There's only a second between the pair of them. Tobias Johannesson is in the frame. Primoz Roglic rounding out your top 5, with Yuri Ciccone in 6. He has got the win he was looking for. Anyone who wins a stage race or a Grand Tour, it doesn't feel complete unless you have the stage win to add to the title. And now Del Toro has both. He also leads the points jersey competition. He's going to be bouncing up now like a jack in the box when it comes to the to the podium here. He leads overall. He wins the stage. He leads the points categorization. He's still a young man. He leads the young riders class as well. He's got just about everything going for him, this man.
Sunday, and he's off to the Tour de France as well. Wow. Later in the year. But no, a prodigiously talented rider, and leaves an interesting signature, more of a smiley face. And there's a big hug from Kevin Vermaak as well, who laid everything down, literally and metaphorically today. Superb teammate. Let's hope he's okay. I think he's doesn't look like he's broken any bones, but definitely lost a lot of skin on the right-hand side. But again, the team rode as a real collective unit, and he can be proud of them.
This is where the Di Verano lords from the 13th to the 16th century, they thought that was never going to end, didn't they? Historic building, later housed the University of Camerino. Notable for its elegant Renaissance courtyard, there it is down there, featuring double loggias and columns.
Yeah, it's actually one of the oldest universities in Italy, isn't it, here? So very, very
therefore
early.
The world, one would imagine.
I think the oldest university in the world apparently is in Leuven.
I bet it's in Egypt.
European, the oldest European. Well, whatever you want to call it, but yeah, the oldest. Anyway, it's lovely here, and there's an old university. And this man, well, another day at school for him, and the first Mexican winner in the history of Tirreno Adriatico.
The oldest university in the world is that of the Al Karayin, located in Fez, according to the Guinness Book of Records.
I like a Fez every now and again.
Yeah, me too. Right then, letters. Great Tommy Cooper dropping in for a moment there.
Indeed. It's going to be the Del Toro show, like you say, for the next few minutes, isn't it?
It is. Good job it's warm. He's a Del Toro. You know, he garners favour with fans as well, because he's just it's a spectacle watching him. He rides dramatic, doesn't he?
He does. But he rides dramatically and aggressively, but also increasingly with real maturity as well. Didn't get drawn into any of those big attacks. And he knows his ability. As I said before, you know, he's almost on the climbs with the field we've got here. There's nobody that can touch him. You know, he's never looked to be in any particular state of distress at all. So therefore could just pace his effort, knew exactly what moves he needed to shut down. And there weren't many. A lot of them he just winched back gradually. And he knows that if you go a little bit too deep on a steep climb like that, it's hard to recover. So he measured his effort perfectly. And the two attacks that he did, one after he caught Pellizzari and the next one to drop Jorgensen, were emphatic. So strength and maturity, tactical nous, means that he extends his lead at the top of the classification and gets that all-important stage win.
Absolutely magnificent. There is your confirmation of how they came home today. There's a bottle waiting there. He's not given to opening them because he's got so many.
No, yes, he might do one tomorrow if he rounds out the winner of this race, which is highly likely now. This is fourth win of the year today.
Do you think that he deserves to have an entire team dedicated to him?
Depending on the race, yeah. I think not when Tadej Pogačar's around at the moment, but when Tadej Pogačar's not around, the answer is yes.
That's what I was alluding to.
Yeah, definitely.
magnificent, but he's going to the Tour de France. So
He is indeed.
let's see, indeed, what opportunities within that race he gets. I think his duty is going to be looking after Tadej Pogacar, of course. Isaac Del Toro is our glorious leader and winner in waiting. I think it's fair to say, considering what we're dealing with tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly won't be a walk in the park. It never is. It's quite stressful, especially on the finishing circuits. Anything can happen. We've got the 2 climbs beforehand as well. But it will be a few other teams, especially Alpes and Premier Tech, who essentially, for all intents and purposes, had almost like a day off today to focus on trying to set Philipsen up. So there are a lot of teams will need to take control. But he's in good shape, and he's wearing another jersey. He's certainly keeping warm.
He is. I think he's just putting one on top of the other.
Yeah, but you might as well.
Yeah, but not doing the same with the spectacles on us. He's keeping them unique to the jersey of the moment.
Yeah, Ciclamino. Slightly more relaxed smile now.
Yes.
The hardest racing is behind him in this race, but he needs to keep attentive, to use his words tomorrow, not take anything for granted, and then he should be taking this one home.
If he put any more jerseys on, he'd be coming out in the form of a crucifix.
But like the Michelin man, he won't be able to move his arms, will he?
So, the point standings. He leads Tobias Johannesson by 32 points, Pellizzari by 4 points, I should say. Isaac Del Toro with 36 points here. Mathieu van der Poel, I wonder what... I mean, he's not going to bridge that gap now, I don't think. It's 12 behind as it stands. You never know.
I think technically he could win it if he wins the intermediate sprint and the stage, but it's doubtful that's going to happen.
The order is getting taller, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he looks good to win that one.
Is it another jersey on? It is. Oh, he took off. Has he got the Ciclamino under there as well?
Only the blue. It's almost like doing another stage, stepping up onto that podium. He might need another gel.
He's getting the steps in, isn't he?
It's like his post-race warm-down, but using steps rather than a bicycle.
There we are. What's he doing with all the flowers? He could
toss them into the
florist.
crowd. Yeah, open a florist, or throw them into the crowd, or give them to a local dignitary.
Well, it's the mountains. I don't know whether our mountains man is home yet.
He was behind yesterday, but he should be good. We need to double-check what the score is on the King of the Mountains classification, but there's only one climb tomorrow, so I think he should be home and dry. There's the confirmation of the white jersey standings.
Indeed. Del Toro leading his friend Giulio Pellizzari by the same margin as it is overall. Magnus Sheffield is on the young riders' podium here. Should we check out tomorrow, shall we?
I think we should.
Yeah, why not? Our final day. San Benedetto del Tronto. We're heading there tonight for a lovely fish supper. Here we are. It's become such a classic stage, this, and I love the way that we keep coming back because it has its own special peculiarities.
It does indeed. Heads along the coast, and then, just for fun, swings inland to take 2 quite lofty peaks. First of which, been tackled now, back down, and then we kick up to Ripastorone. And that's the final King of the Mountains of this week. And then we drop back down towards the coast, and we do 4 laps. We'll finish on the 5th lap of the finish line on that familiar circuit that we've become accustomed to over the last few years. It should be a Sprinters World Championships.
There you are. Intermediate sprint as well before we actually get to our circuit. 7 laps, I believe. 5, beg your pardon. So on the second of those, we take ourselves that. Check it out. We are going to hear from Isaac Del Toro, who's got a bit more breath back and more of a smile, I believe. And here he comes. Yes, re-chippered, I think. Now he's done his bottle duty. Here he comes.
Isaac, you are the first Mexican to win a stage of Tirreno Adriatico. Do you have that feeling that your achievements these days are not only for you, not only for your team, but also for your country?
I think it's quite nice, but honestly, this week is just full for the guys. They did such an amazing job, and I cannot be more proud to be in this position. And it's just insane, and and today is just full for them because they really push my limits to take this home.
How does it feel to take all these jerseys?
I don't know, it's just crazy. It's just something very nice to experience, and sometimes I don't realize how good is this.
2 days ago we were counting the seconds, the time bonus. Now you have a 42 seconds lead. Is this winning big?
No, we never need to think like this. We need to be focused and still on the race tomorrow.
Did you learn a lot last year riding for the winner, Juan Ayuso?
Yeah. And in the first year I did it with Ayuso and he did second, and he win, and I was always there for him, and I really like this race, so I just want to manage that I was able to do it one day, and being now here is crazy nice.
All the best for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Oh, lovely. We've got a smile out of him at the end, which is the way it should be. Well, it's been an absolute joy to have your company here. It's an event, of course, by RCS, and we thank them for it. We thank the Gravity Media Group as well. They've been sensational, and the pictures have been chosen for us by Koen van Meurich. From me, Carlton Kirby, and indeed from Matt Stevens. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe. Bye-bye.